What's happening, so fam? Welcome to the Antojai channel where we talk about manifestation, energy work, and how to become an ascended master of your reality. My name's Excel, and in this video, we're going to be diving into how to do tarot spreads for the entire year. So a year-long tarot spread or a New Year's tarot spread is another way you can consider it. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you have definitely seen me do a Tarot Tuesday that I typically do, which outlines the following couple weeks that are to come in the collective consciousness, the energy through tarot, basically. You've probably scheduled a one-on-one tarot with me that definitely has blown your mind. This is all because I've basically been doing tarot for well over 20 years. I know techniques that no one has ever taught out there. I know techniques that other tarot readers have taught me because they were much older and more experienced than I was. So I'm here to show you how I do my technique. I'm extremely accurate, so I highly recommend that you follow step by step what I do so you can eventually read like me. Now, the video that I'll post later on with an actual reading is going to be the collective consciousness reading that I'm doing for the entire world. For you personally, when you do this spread, I want you to just focus on yourself, because reading like higher level, like the world, is much more difficult than being able to track your own personal universe. If you are brand new to tarot and you try to read the entire globe, it might be difficult to track. So just give yourself that ability to just be in your personal universe until you have experience to read more and more content. So this is super easy. Doesn't matter if you have multiple decks or you don't have multiple decks, you'll still be able to do this exact process. It might just be a different format for you, okay? So I'm so excited. Don't forget to subscribe that like button to this video so it tells the algorithm that it's dope. Follow the channel, and thank you so much for supporting us on Patreon through the Shamanic Center and by taking the Antojai Quantum Reiki 3 course. All the links are going to be in the description below. Let's get into this. So the first thing you need is a really big surface. I have a huge table that I use specifically for tarot. So if you have a small space, it's going to be very difficult to read the entire year. You also want to leave this spread or this reading on a table extensively. So if you have to leave it there for 2 weeks until you get all the information you need to have the year mapped out, you want to be sure that no one's going to be using that table so they don't interrupt the spread. You want to leave everything in place, that way no information gets lost or confused. So number one, big table, and then make sure that that table is not being used by anyone, okay? That way you are safe with your reading and it can be super easy for you to do. Step two, you're gonna have to get multiple tarot decks. So it doesn't really matter how many tarot decks you use when you're doing your year-long spread, but if you have more than one, it's usually a lot easier. You can definitely mix it with oracle decks, you can mix it with other forms of divination like runes, or dice, or any other form, the I Ching even, right? That you really feel is gonna help you understand the energy flow in the house. So I have over 100 different divination tools, from tarot to oracle to dice to you name it, okay? What I like to do is I like to step into my little room where I have my cards and stuff like that, and I just let the cards and the decks speak to me. Usually they highlight themselves in the process, so it's like this particular box is really the only thing I can see. I usually pick that out, and I follow my gut instinct, my intuition, as I'm doing this process, right? So I really try to make sure that I'm just going with what the flow is, even if it's a deck or you know, a divination tool that I haven't used in years. If I feel drawn to it, I'm gonna pull it out because it's part of the reading. From the moment that you decide that you want to do a year-long reading, you have to understand that it's a spell. It's alchemy, right? So everything I teach is alchemy, Antojai alchemy, right? And that means it's a science. It means it's a formula. So from the moment that you say, I'm going to do a reading, that's 1 plus, right? And then you're like, okay, well, I need the table 2. So 1 plus 2 plus, you know, it's like a mathematical equation that keeps growing as you keep adding to it. It's a spiritual ritual. It's a spiritual spell. So make sure that when you're in it, The first time you're setting things up, you want to be in that flow. Give yourself at least an hour to set things up and find what cards are talking to you. Sometimes the cards talk to you immediately. Sometimes the cards take about 20 minutes to all highlight themselves. If you have one deck, you're going to have to probably shuffle the deck multiple times to get full responses. If you have at least 3 decks, this is going to be super easy for you. If you have 100 like myself, it might get a little bit complicated. The table might get a little bit flustered if you're using like 12 decks at once. So just make sure you keep a nice organized, clean spread on the table so the cards don't kind of intermingle and the information potentially lost. So now I'm going to just go ahead. I have my table prepped. It's completely empty. There's nothing there. I'm going to make sure that I look through my drawers and through my rooms just to make sure that all the decks that want to show up are showing up with me. I'm not going to discriminate. I'm just going to follow my intuition and I'm going to put them on the table. I'll see you there when everything's set up. All right, so I have now taken probably well over half an hour to just kind of vibe and find the decks that I really felt spoke to me for this particular project. And how many did I end up with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 decks total. And the reason why I ended up with these decks is because this cloud deck is really good for reading the divine feminine energy. I can feel that 2023 is going to be a lot of heavy divine feminine energy. I also ended up picking out my Shaman King deck. This is a custom deck of mine. It's really good at reading just like rough energy. It's specifically meant to read like the harder energies in reality. So I really do love this deck. I'm using the Musalea deck as well, which the Musalea has a kind of like a darker tone to it. We are stepping into a dark phase in 2023, and I'll tell you how I know that. So I want to be able to keep track with these 2 decks of the harder energies that are going to be presenting themselves. This is the deck of healing and manifesting. This one's a really good deck because it's just very wisdom based, kind of like very flowy. I really like this deck as well as an oracle. So these 2 are oracles. This one is a tarot oracle hybrid. This one is a beast of its own. It's kind of like oracle / tarot. I'm using the Angel Tarot right here. This is a tarot deck specifically. It has a lot of angelic energies. The angels are really good at tracking what the main messages and meanings in a spread are. I'm using the Angelarium deck. This Angelarium is year 1 and year 2 mixed into one deck. You can only get it specifically from their website. Really, really love this deck. I can't wait till there's a year 3 because I will be there. Love it. This is the Guidance of the Goddesses deck because we are stepping into divine feminine energy. A lot of it. You can even say sacred feminine if that's your vibe. So this deck and this deck together are going to work very, very deeply with some hints from that deck over there. We have the Antojai deck, of course. How can we be doing anything on the Antojai channel without the Antojai deck? You will be able to buy your own here really soon on the channel, so yay! And of course, one of my besties, this is the Yogic Path. It's by Sahara Rose. I definitely love this deck. So much deep wisdom that comes out of this particular deck. So I am ready to go ahead and read. So I needed to know specifically what year we're in. So this is the book Numerology with Tantra and Ayurveda. I really, really love this book because it breaks down numerology in a bunch of different ways. I use it to track the main energies. So we live in a 9 calendar cycle, meaning every 9 years the cosmic calendar resets and we start back over. So every 9 years there's a cosmic reset that happens. Every year has a specific energy inside of it. So in 2020, we were in Rahu. And that's when I started really tracing it a lot. I was doing it mentally. 2021, we were in Mercury. 2022 was Venus. So this year was a lot about Venus energy, love energy. If you watch any of my previous Tarot Tuesdays or any of the content I've created this year, or you even read this year's reading, you're going to see like, wow, I'm really feeling those vibrations. I've been inspired this way. My life is forcing me to go in this direction. So in 2023, if we're just following it, we're going into cosmic calendar year 7, okay? And that's ruled by Ketu. And then if I need to do any deeper understanding on Ketu, I can just go into this book right here, and I already have them highlighted. So Ketu is considered causes of liberation, similar to Rahu. The natives become highly sensitive and emotional. They feel aversions towards the material successes and become disinterested in the psychodrama of life. They become interested in the knowledge of self and try to achieve enlightenment through the true knowledge. It is a powerful night. They get easily irritable. They become crazy at times, almost seeming like they're being possessed by evil spirits or ghosts. They acquire the power of healing, and they help those who feel possessed by evil spirits and ghosts. It makes them interested in the healing arts, such as natural healing and other. Basically, this is talking about, this is the headless year, right? It's a flow. It's water. It's going to be really deep water that transcends us. And then it's also going to kind of be like we're cutting off this energy that we no longer need. There's a goddess in Hindu culture called Chinnamasta, which is the goddess that cuts off her own head. So when we're looking at even the similarities of Ketu, which is also known as the south node or the descending node in your chart, we know that this is going to be a year, 2023, of cutting loose everything that you've been causing some sort of excuse for. So if you've been in a relationship for a while, you know you're not supposed to be in it, you're just going to cut off your head and move on in the next direction, etc., etc. So I highly recommend this book because now it's telling me what the tone of 2023 is. It's telling me that the tone of 2023 is going to be really deep, forced, almost necessary, craved personal transformation. The material world is not going to seem as important because self-realization is the main interest, right? And that's what it's pretty much telling me. So one of the things that you can do here is you can write on particular index cards each month of the year so you can keep track of it. Voila. Now you see, I just think this is a little bit easier when it comes to kind of like keeping track of the months, because sometimes you're like, where did I start off from? So I cut it off in 6 months intervals. So January to June, July to December over here. And once I have these cue cards, you can just use small pieces of paper and stuff like that to help you keep track if that's a little bit easier. From here, this is where I start grabbing the first deck. I really feel like I want to grab this one, and I just start shuffling. And I let it tell me how many cards are supposed to come through, or I just feel it, or I just know it. It doesn't really matter how your technique goes, but I feel like I need to put one card on every month, except for March. March needs 2 or 3 cards. So I'm going to do the top one here, January, February, March. It tells me to do a third one, April, May, June. It tells me to flip. So the deck is telling me what to do. It tells me to flip. I'm flipping it. July, August, September, October. November needs 1, 2, because the deck is telling me that. December. And then that's all for now. We don't need any more cards. So once I get that prompt that we don't need any more cards, I move the deck out of the way. And then I basically just come back to all the decks that are in the center, and I ask them, okay, what's the next deck that I need to work with? And then I really feel like this card is the one that wants to go next. Every deck is going to tell you different information. So this one's already telling me skip January, and I'm just, again, following my intuition. Even though it doesn't always make sense, it's not linear, that's okay. I'm being told skip that, put it here, not there. We'll put it here, here, not there. Put it here, not there. put it here, there, here, not there. Tells me to take one final card at the top, put it to the side, and then to basically take the deck and flip it over and put it to the side. So whenever it tells you to do something like this, like for instance these two, like to put them to the side, this is a dominating energy that's going to control all these other elements, okay? The difference between this deck that I put to the side and this deck is that this one's done. It doesn't have any more information that I can apply to the reading, right? It kind of told me this is how it has to be laid out and this is what you need to do. This one's telling me the final two cards are these cards over here so that you can understand the tone of everything else. And the energy of this deck only gets applied in specific moments in time because certain things have to happen across the course of the reading for it to stay on point. So now I'm feeling like I should really go into this deck, the Antojai deck, and I just repeat the process. I'm being told one for each deck. 2, 3, I hear. 1, 2. 1, 1, 1, 2, 1. That's what I'm being told. Take one from the top and leave the other. So it's telling me to pull the top card off, flip it, put it over with the other card over here. Don't flip it. The rest of the deck is not necessary. This one seems to be really vibrating for me a lot. So I'm going to pull it out. And you now understand the process, right? You're just going to keep talking to the decks. You're going to keep connecting to them. They're going to keep guiding you. They're going to keep telling you what it is that you need to do. And just flow with it. Even if it doesn't make sense, trust the process. Trust the process. If a card falls out, wherever it falls out, that's where it stays. So it wanted to be right there. I'm going to leave it right there. Nothing happens by chance. Everything is synchronistic. You see what I'm saying? Here, the deck already fell out. 2 different cards again, upside down here. And this is why I'm telling you, put the cards a little bit more cleanly. I'm even guilty of doing this because the cards eventually are going to start blending together because you're doing it so loosely. So try to really, really keep them close together and clean. So boof. We're going to leave that alone. It tells us to put it on the side. So right now we're just going to put it far off over here facing up. But you're not going to be able to fully see it right now in this particular video. So I'm going to just keep doing that. I feel like the next one I want to do are these two. This one's telling me to put 3 on each. And then when you're done doing all the decks and putting them together, you're left with essentially 12 different piles for not only each month of 2023, but you're also left with understanding of each zodiac because there are specific dates between each zodiac space that really works well with you. And what you're essentially left with are 12 independent decks for not only each month, but also the phases of particular zodiac signs. So the zodiac signs run into every month, about the 20th. So around the 20th of January, it fully switches from Capricorn to Aquarius, and then around the 20th of February or so, we switch over to Pisces, which is the full month for that place, and it's kind of just like a wave, it just goes ups and downs. So it's really helpful to kind of just be able to read what's going to happen to each independent sign. So I'm an Aries. I'm going to really pay attention to this section over here in between these two lessons, because that's what's going to really mean the most, not only during March and April, but the main gist of what every Aries should be focusing on over here. Same thing if you're a Pisces, you're going to be reading these two messages over here and so forth. There are two different piles, and this is a multi-dimensional reading. So like you're reading a whole entire year, you're reading by month, you're reading by sign, okay, and then you're reading by relativity to you, right? So if you're reading a reading for yourself, you would just be asking, what's going to happen to me. You can skip the particular energies here if you wanted to, but I would still say set it up the same way that I do. That way you can read for yourself only, not reading the collective, and then be able to say, okay, well, this is what each month means to me, but this is what my zodiac is going to be going through all together, and it helps you kind of see the bigger picture. This is all the conscious energy of the extra decks when we were done shuffling everything. So remember, I put those cards on the side over here. That's basically the top energy cards, and then these are the bottom energy cards. And then I was told to place them, the conscious energies up top for the first 6 months, and the subconscious energies for the bottom 6 months of 2023. So now that I have everything set up, it's really cool because I'm going to have to take my time now to read it. If you're brand new to tarot or you don't know these decks very well, it might take you a couple hours to just go through each one. I'm going to be comparing everything I've learned. So I still have other divination devices that I'm not going to get into in this video that I'm going to use for this reading. I want you to just take your time to set it up, and then let's get reading. Take some time to read. Like, this is about efficiency, so this is going to take me a little while to do. Make sure that if you don't fully understand the full meaning of a card, pull out your book and read. The more you do these kinds of advanced spreads, you not only learn how multiple decks talk to each other, but what each individual card means. So in January, it's a lot of Pitta energy, and it's showing up upright, so it means fire and water are the two most powerful elements that create and destroy anything. Together, they create Pitta, which is empowering you today. You're in a determined place in your life. You know what you want, and a fire has been set under your seat to achieve it. You are setting goals for yourself and focus on the task at hand. Perhaps this is a time to emerge as a leader and teach others your strength and wisdom. You are transforming the world with your actions. Just don't lose connection with the water within you, and remember to play. Okay, so in January, it's like crush your goals. Go after your goals, okay? That's like the main thing it's talking about right here. Then we end up having Zeus, or the King of Swords, coming upside down. Zeus is tied to abundance and money. Do not let money or the fear of not being able to succeed to achieve your goal be something that stops you from getting to your goal. The King of Swords also is somebody who doesn't just get into a fight randomly. He calculates. He studies, he acquires information, so he doesn't let himself be taken advantage of because he's prepared. Right now, if you're watching this before we end up stepping into 2023, you can prepare yourself to do this work for the coming year. You need to understand that the energy that's coming up is that energy of Sept, the Queen of Wands, being happy, living the life that you really want to live, and rebirthing yourself. But in order for you to do that, you have to allow yourself to step into a position of power. But power often makes people uncomfortable, and it comes with a new group of understanding in the world. Power is not malicious. Power is a force that is relatively available in all forms of nature. So here it's really what it's telling you is like, go after what you're looking for, go after what you really desire. You set a goal, you need it with that Pitta energy. The Zeus energy is telling you, do not let anything stop you. The Sekhmet energy is telling you, this is the pathway to you being rebirthed into a state of extreme power and extreme happiness, and you have to allow yourself to understand that. We come out with the energy of Adamans. So Adamans is the twin brother of Antojai. Antojai is a lot about service to others, you know, and that energy. Adamans is a lot of service to self. So if you're in the Antojai community and you're studying Adamans with me, definitely that's the alchemy that we're going to be practicing for the rest of the year. January sets the tone for everything because that's the energy that's being introduced into the system of reality. Even though we technically end reality here, because Pisces is the end of the zodiac, technically the zodiacs are going to officially start and be led by the Aries energy. So if you're going to be reading just the zodiac energy, Aries is what's leading the zodiacs. January is what's leading the human perception of consciousness. There are two different realities that we're reading here, okay? So I really want you to pay attention to that. So Adamans is all about becoming invincible. Becoming invincible is going through certain tests that you may not feel comfortable going through, right? So this is a very powerful message saying like, embrace yourself. 2023 is about you. It's not about anybody else. It's about you getting what you want. Don't let anything stop you because this is all a illusion. So you need to understand that we are living in a cosmic illusion. That's what the divine feminine here is trying to tell us. That's why if you're afraid to go after what you want or you haven't been planning now to go after your desires, you are going to miss out. And you're going to see other people manifest themselves. You're going to feel like you're slipping deeper and deeper and deeper into a sense of uselessness and a sense of your own illusion. And it's going to really feel like a lot of tension coming up and surfacing for you. So it's really important for you to understand these messages. Go after your dreams, which is really interesting because last year when I did this reading for 2022, the energy of December actually was like, go after your desires. Go after your desires. Don't let anything stop you. Right? It was the energy of 2022 when I did it last January. It's interesting to see how last year's full year reading is now clashing into this one and guiding us into the next stage. So here we come with the angels. The angels are the ones that are dominating this particular month, and these are the angels that are guiding the rest of human consciousness because we're reading by month right now. We haven't gotten to the zodiacs. So the Knight of Pentacles, learn how to relax when it's necessary. That's one of the first things that's most important. And learn when it's time to actually go all in without any like restrictions to what you want. So here's a really, really powerful message, just essentially telling you, hey, you need to allow yourself to have work-life balance or play and work to be part of who you are. This is a month where you're going to be really stepping into, and this is also a year that you're really going to be stepping into, bring praise for who you are and the work that you've been delivering and stuff like that. It's light of understanding, acquires knowledge, and cures of illnesses. Okay, so for all the healers, remember what Ketu said? Ketu is a lot for the healers in that book, right? And then you saw me shuffle the deck, and the first angel card that's coming out here is saying, you know, you're going to be learning how to cure illnesses. Here we start seeing a very huge similarity with the book and the cards. They're repeating themselves. We saw the first similarity with January saying that this is the month to go after your year for 2023. And the reading that I did last January in 2022 ends with December saying, go after your dreams, go all in. You can see now there's two echoes here. There's echoes, and we're starting to see that with those echoes, we're getting onto something. We're on the right path. You'll start seeing those similarities, which then gives you a confirmation that you're doing what you're doing correctly. We step into the Two of Wands. There are two separate worlds that are going to be living. The one that people are dreaming and they're very immersed into, and the one where people are awakening to empower themselves to get into the next reality that they're really looking for. During this time, you need to understand love and wisdom. A lot of you might be channeling messages of love to like love yourself, love your life, how to become more passionate about the work that you do, things like that. And it's very, very, very necessary that you take just a leap of faith in that direction. That's what's going to really open up a ton of doors for you. There's victory over those who would attack you. So if you're in the vibration right now of people trying to attack you or anything like that, no, it's going to come to a conclusion starting January, and you don't have anything to worry about for the rest of human consciousness at this time. If you're on this reading and you're understanding this, you've been able to align yourself with this particular set of information, you are protected under Jalil, okay? Then we come out with the energy of the Seven of Pentacles, meaning that we need to take some time to rest and relax. This is also going to be, January is going to be a lot of like R&R time. The rest of 2023 is going to be also being able to enjoy the finer things in life, the things that you really love, maybe spending more time with your family, going out on adventures, you know, whatever it is that really fuels your soul. 2023 is dedicated to that. So here we really need to understand discernment, a general prosperity, the deliverance of prisoners. So if you feel like something's been taking you away, like something got stolen from you and got locked away in a prison, like certain pieces of information or lack of understanding, that's all going to be unlocked for you right now, and it's going to be coming to you. But here we also have to understand, similar to the other cards that had come out, we need to understand work-life balance, right? We need to go after our dreams. We have to make sure that we don't let anything stand in our way, money or other. We're rebirthing ourselves to really step into the full vibration of who we are. We have to understand the service to self concept, becoming invincible, getting what you want, because this is an illusion. Allow yourself to process the good times, the bad times, that work-life balance. Understand that the world is dividing itself into two different spectrums of reality. All you can do is work on yourself, and while you're doing that, have discernment of when you have to relax, when you don't have to relax, who you should let into your circle and who you should not let into your circle. Next, we end up having the Angel of Mysteries, Raziel. So he's basically all of alchemy. And here he's saying, Raziel is the keeper of all knowledge and the speaker of truths. This angel stands at the foot of the tree of life and notes all creation, diligently recording its observations into a great tome. This book contains the answers to everything, even questions you never thought to ask. It is the lens that captures the view from the corner of the universe's eye. There are some things that simply cannot be known. Within that space, Raziel stands alone, an angel apart from angels, keeper of truths never spoken aloud. Wow, that's really powerful because it's a divine consciousness that's guiding us now. Now, these lower angels from the first reading, they're going to be guiding us. They're almost like the guardian angels of humanity. Raziel is the overseer of those three angels. So each month you're going to notice that there are new spirit guides that you can work with from here. And all you have to do every month, come back to this reading, save it on your list, and basically with those new angels you say, hey, I need your help, please help me. Even the spirit guides that might show up on the cards as well, you can even summon Sept, you can summon the spirit of Adamans, you can summon Zeus. Those are all energies that can really come through here right now. The only thing here is you need to have conviction. You have to have something unshakable, okay? So if you know that you're supposed to start that YouTube channel, go after it. All the information, all the things that need to move, all the things that need to come to you will happen. This is a great time for you to really get into your design of business. If you really wanted to have a business for a while, this is a great time for you to just go for it. But you can't just do baby steps. It's all or nothing, right? And then while you're going into that, allow yourself to find relaxation. You need to also understand deciphering the runes. So with this card, I would probably later come back to January and pull some runes, because runes, I have that divination aspect. So here is kind of like giving me a clue. Pull out some runes for January. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull that out. Deciphering the runes is deciphering the messages that are around you. There are a lot of synchronicities that are trying to tell you what it is that you need to be doing in your life right now and what it is that's most important to you. Oftentimes people choose not to listen to those energies, and that's what ends up bringing them into disaster. So allow yourself to kind of, what is the common denominator? Have you been told for a while, write a book, oh, you should do this, you should do that? Definitely going down that pathway is what's going to help you get to the next level. We have oppression. There is going to be a force that tries to stop you, okay? Basically saying the oppression has to be blown away. It has to be destroyed. Coming back to that energy of Sekhmet. Sekhmet is destruction and rage. So she's going to be leading that energy. People are going to be feeling a lot of anger to the point where they're fed up with the system. They're fed up with like their own lives. They're fed up being taken advantage of by companies. They're fed up of the government. They're fed up of everything, just how things are planning out. And it's like no one cares. And people are going to see the oppression. Some people are going to accept it. And there are going to be many that fight against it, creating a new world. This is the catalyst. We are now officially, we've been prepping for it. We've stepped into it. But when we're re-architecting two different universes at this time, it's extremely important that you pay attention to that. Which universe are you going to be a part of? The one that you architect or the one that's being architected for you? It's very important that you take a stand and go in the direction you want. We have the energy of Abraham coming up upside down. So it tells us that the root cause of a lot of this transformation is going to be the seed of injustice, the seed of non-truth, and the seed of lack of duty. So the world right now is feeling injustice, lack of truth, and also a lack of duty from the people who are leading the world, the state of companies overrunning food outages and stuff like that. There's a lot of tension globally with consciousness. And this card right here is now giving us that understanding that, people are going to rise against that. So there is going to be a very deep shift of consciousness, more tension. It may make us feel uncomfortable, but we have to keep working with it. So then we come to the final card, choose joy. Happiness is an inside job. You always have a choice. Choose something to do that lights you up today. Wow. Can that get any clearer right there? Could that get any clearer? That's literally telling you to go after your dreams, choose something that gives you joy, focus on yourself, don't let anything stop you. Understand that the universe is going to be going through some massive shifts because the world is not in the position that we want it to be as a collective whole, and we have to basically fight our way to the reality that we want, right? The reality that we truly want to be embodying and existing in. This is a very powerful message for January. I'll just take the rune card out and I'll place it on the top as well, or I'll put it over here actually. That way I know I have to come back here. There's something that's missing. Let me pull out some runes to dive in deeper in that. All right, so this is day 2 actually, because I had some stuff to do and I didn't want to rush myself. I wanted to really focus on the content at hand. That way I could read it perfectly. So I ended up getting some runes, and with these runes I just pulled out about 6 of them, which told me a little bit more of the details that are to be paid attention to for January, Capricorn, and Aquarius. It's telling us that humanity is going to go through a strife when it comes to abundance, the material world, and the economic system. So right here, it's already automatically telling us that there's going to be a shift in economy. There's going to be a shift in money, something to do with finances, which ultimately is going to change that entire ecosystem, affecting businesses and other things like that. But it says that as we shift into that direction, we are also going to be able to use that as an adventure. It's going to stop a lot of things that we're comfortable doing, but it's also going to bring us the ability to create new things to create, like new industries, new opportunities for harvest. A lot of the old is going to be left behind because the old is the problem. And the only way that we can actually find more abundance and prosperity is by changing the way that we do things and creating new solutions. So humanity as a whole is going to be transitioning in their consciousness on how they need to function and behave in the world. February. I already did a quick reading on the base card here, just so that we can keep it up to speed. So all I do is I pick up the cards and then just, most of them are face down, so I just hold them up, right? So the first card that we have here is the Kundalini for February, and this is going to be affecting Aquarius and Pisces. The Kundalini is an energy that rises from the base of our spine, and it awakens a ton of different abilities within us. It gives us the opportunity to truly embody more of who we are through the raw essence of our natural being. The Kundalini is a raw natural force that every human being has, and it awakens in different ways. Sometimes through extreme energy work, sometimes through yoga, sometimes through breath work, sometimes it just awakens. And there's no explanation as to why, just divine timing. This energy is what's going to be happening in February, giving us a deep, deep sense of must continue on the right path. So the energy starts off kind of like intense, kind of saying, hey, let's go after what we're looking for. But then it goes into, this is the only option. This is where we have to be empowered, and this is the way. We have the energy of rebirth with Vesna, basically reminding us, again, very similar messages over here. We had rebirth with Sept on that particular month, January 2023. Here we have Vesna again, still repeating the same message, rebirth. We're starting to see even more synchronicities as we dive into the reading, which is telling us, hey, if it's not clear enough, there's going to be a shift within a shift within a shift. It's like an echo. You're starting off the year letting go of the old. You're reforming yourself into who you want to be. Then you're going into the next month, saying, okay, that person had pros and cons. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to work even deeper on all the pros and try to help the cons minimize themselves so I can continue another rebirth process. This is a year of stamina so far when we look at 2023. We have the energy of Merlin with the Page of Pentacles. The Page of Pentacles is someone who's learning how to acquire more wealth and more abundance, and that's going to be the generalized thing for a lot of people in February 2023. Merlin is a great magician. He's very grounded. He does a lot of earth magic. So Merlin was wise beyond his years, beyond the comprehension of regular people, meaning a lot of people are going to be having like these really deep downloads, not only about themselves, but about other people's lives, about the structures of reality, about things that they've never even questioned or even thought about thinking of. Is going to be a year of consciousness, of ascension, of expansion. A lot of people are going to contract simultaneously, and I don't want to use the year of enlightenment. I think enlightenment misses the point here. There's a lot of expansion that goes into it, which leads to enlightenment, but we want to really focus on the sensation that's happening, right? The people who are contracting, the people who are allowing themselves to flow and become part of the greater ecosystem. The best way to get through February 2023 is to listen to the energy of Vishnu and temperance, having patience. Have patience during this time. You're cultivating not only yourself but a greater reality. And sometimes we look at this kind of message and we're like, well, I'm already 30, or I'm already in my 40s, or I feel like time is stopping me by, like slipping me by, and I'm about to get stopped. It's all a game of self-awareness. The more aware you are of your actions, the more honest you are with your actions, the more aligned you are with how you truly feel, the more accelerated the experience is, because there's less density and there's less resistance. The only reason why reality is difficult to manage and deal with is because you're not living to your ultimate potential, which is what you truly want to do. If you want to be a candle maker, go make fucking candles. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really that simple. And live that life. Like, immerse yourself into it, invest into it, rebirth yourself. It's all or nothing, right? And that's in order to be in something all of or nothing, you have to give yourself time to analyze and experience. You start off being a dancer, you might realize that hip hop is not for you, and you're like, okay, I don't know, I still love dancing. I might have to do tango instead. And maybe you do fall in love with tango, and that carries you through to the next level. You had to start off with dancing, you had to start off with hip hop, realize you love tango. Great. You're still dancing. You just chose a different footwork, right? And that's part of the rebirth process that a lot of people try to resist themselves from. They keep thinking of it as like rebirth. Oh my God, I gotta abandon dance altogether. That's not the way authenticity truly works. For some people, yeah, some people do hip hop and they're like, no, you know what? That was enough for me. I don't want to dance anymore. And if you're one of those people, that's okay. Like, you get the opportunity to question, all right, maybe I might like, pottery instead of dancing, right? So then as we do that, we need to return, we need to go back and dive deeper into our soul here. The return card is deeply about past lives, past connections, past passions that you truly feel are just surfacing and have been always a natural being or natural desire within you to fulfill. This is a lot in February to do with the soul vibration, the ninth chakra. And the more you can allow yourself to ask yourself, how do I feel truly about the experience that I've been having for the last 30, 40 years? If you can't analyze at a soul vibration what that means to you, and that's saying like, well, the last 40 years have been the lesson of trusting myself, or the consistent messages have been X, Y, and Z, right? It's a deep self-analysis of self, so you can take the knowledge and the wisdom that you've gained forward into the next versions of you, right? And a lot of times people don't stop to actually reflect on the blessings that they've received, on the lessons that they've received. We simply just run with the trauma instead of actually looking at what was the bigger message now that we've been able to watch the movie unfold. We come into the energy of time, which the energy of time and the energy of the return are lovers. This is yin yang energy here. And the time has to do with the eighth chakra. So here the eighth and the ninth chakras are really getting summoned. The eighth chakra was very deep as well in January, but the time is mostly related to understanding that time and space are an illusion. Whatever you feel inspired to do now, you've already learned how to do it previously. And then since our souls are infinite and multidimensional, there's a version of you in an alternate reality that has already mastered being successful at your dharma. So you can embody the intelligence of that version of you and walk confidently towards your fulfillment. That does need a ton of self-trust and determination to not let go of your dream, right? And that's what's going to be a lot of this internal self-recognition that happens in February. It's going to be very powerful. We have the energy of the Page of Cups, divine comfort, gives consolation and protection from one's enemies. Still, another month where you do not have to worry about negative vibrations, people sending you all the negative vibes. You can work clearly and who you want to be and how you want to be. This is meditative energy. The universe is acquiring itself in a very specific way. It's acquiring all the pieces so I can orchestrate the divine time that allows you to just take a breather. With the Page of Cups is reminding you to pay attention of all the blessings that surface during this particular time. By doing so, you will be able to really, really be in the moment, in the now, by counting your blessings and seeing them unfold. You'll fortify your consciousness when it comes to how blessed you are. We have the Nine of Cups, another sign here telling us that you're going to be blessed during February. Really good things are going to be happening. A lot of healing and preserving of health and curing disease. This energy is still very much so in alignment with the Ketu reading that we did at the very beginning of this project. So we're basically seeing that the energies are transferring over. It's a clock, it's a timeline that people are on. We can manipulate these timelines as easily as we want, but it's easier to do so once you understand what the pattern is. We're coming into the Hermit energy. The Hermit energy is about self-meditation and self-analysis. I told you that with the previous cards of the time and the return that you were going to go into a meditative, introspective energy, right, of self-awareness and the occult. Well, this angel is known exactly for that, for alchemy and transformation, rules the natural events and helps one's spiritual progress. Alignment, right? Previous reading from 2022, ending in December, alignment. So we're starting to see how this is all just like, wow, crazy, right? We come into the energy of Hazmed. Hazmed is the angel of destruction, and he destroys everything that is unsound at its foundation. Foundations. We talked about foundations over here earlier and how we have to reanalyze and restructure those foundations. In February, we're destroying everything that isn't part of that project of our fundamental foundation, the angel of annihilation. So we're going through an introspective space while rechanging our internal world and the external world. If this seems scary, do not feel afraid. This is actually a beautiful experience. It's the ethers, it's the opportunity. Like, you get to change. We have the energy of Silva coming up, which is the energy of our ancestors and the totems and the natives, nature itself. Silva is a Native American shaman, and he connects to all the spirits of the major totem animals in Native American culture. So this is pretty much telling us we're returning back to a fundamental knowledge at our core, right? It's at the core of our foundation, the core of reality, the core of the human experience, and we're unlocking it so it can become more in alignment with the now moment. And that's why we're transcending time and space with the previous information that we were stepping into to fulfill this. We're awakening a deep magic in February. We have the energy of mob mentality, which basically is reminding us that a lot of people are going to end up going to like the most easiest things that are being pointed out. This is talking about illusion. It's very important that you pay attention to the trends that are happening on social media and you don't fall for them. There are going to be people talking about conspiracy theories and this and that. Unless you want to align yourself with that reality and those results, do not give yourself to the mob mentality. When everyone's looking right, you have to look left because that's where the true content to overcome what the generalized collective is doing is held. Okay, so look left when everyone's looking right because you're going to see the actual answer and what's actually happening versus everyone who's looking right and they're missing the bigger picture because they got distracted. Everyone who is going towards the mob mentality is going to have a volatile experience, okay? Very volatile. So right now, reality is very much so, for the last couple of years, since 2020, it's been a war on division. So like, who wants to follow the old narrative of reality and sustain that reality versus people who want to create their own realities and be in a more unified vibration. Reality is splitting directly in front of you. And if you have taken any of my Antojai Quantum Reiki classes or my Antojai Quantum Alchemy class, I've shown you in real time how reality actually shifts. You feel it, you see how it works. It's very subtle until you see the greater culmination of things. And this is exactly what's happening. You are shifting and you're not going to see the huge end result until you've made all of your decisions. Right now, you need to make the decision that when everyone looks right, you look left. You're not going to follow the mob mentality because you're going to stay in your power. That's the whole point of it. This is the illusion, right? We're still dealing with an illusion within an illusion within an illusion. You have an illusion of yourself, you have an illusion of your reality, which exists inside of an illusion of another reality that was created by a group of elites that are managing that illusion. You know, you keep seeing how the illusion is growing. You have to work with it. If you stay in your own power, you're going to step into the energy of Danu, the mother of creation, motherhood, ferocity, and creation itself. Danu is one of my favorite spirit guides. She's down to earth. She is no bullshit. She'll teach you exactly how to get what you need done, all right? Which is very, very important. If you're into like darker Celtic magic, she's definitely going to be one of those vibrations you want to go into. Then the major message here is structure. To live the life you desire, it's important to create structure in your daily life. Build routines that prioritize your big dream. Be consistent. By including a self-care morning routine, you will design a framework for a successful day. That seems very repetitive. Foundations, you need to change your life, create something that allows you to feel more empowered. All right, let's go into March, which has to do with Pisces and a little bit of Aries as well. Remember, when you're reading these cards, they might be easier to read for you, so the reading process might be quicker versus me explaining step by step through these videos and also reading for the collective. The content is going to be different. I'm reading for a ton of people right now versus you reading for yourself. The reading might be a lot faster to get into. I highly recommend that you pay attention to that, okay? So the first art that we have coming out is Ganesha. Ganesha is the god that removes obstacles, and he is very good at bringing success and helping you manipulate your mind. So call upon Ganesha if you're a student, if you need to elevate your business with new techniques and stuff like that. Ganesha, when it shows up in a reading like this, is reminding you that obstacles are going to be moved as long as you keep a framework in your mind that obstacles will not stop you. So you have to be in the original framework of January through March saying, nothing's going to stop me on my way to success. Nothing's going to stop me from attaining the things that I truly want. I'm going to go after it, and that's what it is, right? And you have to allow yourself to enjoy every aspect of that moment. You need to be also very dedicated to it as the Siddha card comes out. Siddha is the goddess that stayed true to her husband Ram, and Ram, when he disappeared, everyone's saying like he was dead, and other kings wanted to marry Siddha, and Siddha was like, no, 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 I'm dedicated to Ram. Years later, Ram ends up showing up, and he's like, I don't believe that you were faithful to me. And she's like, I'm going to step into this fire. If I'm lying, I'll burn. If I'm not lying, I'll be fine. And she walks into the fire. It's completely unharming her, and she proves her devotion to her husband, Ram, and then the story continues. So this is like that unwavering, like, stand in your power, stand in your truth. Your truth is your power. And it's very important that as long as you continue to remind yourself of that truth, you will be able to overcome anything that is thrown at you, okay? That is the obstacle breaker, knowing deeply internally within yourself that you want this to happen, that you know it's going to happen, that no matter what, you will not take no for an answer. That is your truth. That is your love. That's your devotion to your manifestation, to your creation. And whenever a negative voice shows up, you have to allow yourself to just have compassion towards it, have love, right? There's going to come times where you feel at your peak and times where the lows come down and you're like, am I worthy of this? Can I really do this? Etc. When these particular energies, these lower vibrational components come up, you have to allow yourself to just be in love. Be in this place of like, let me take a second to breathe. Why are these coming up? Like, what's the track record that I've had so far as I've been redesigning and rebirthing myself and bringing me to where I want to be, right? You have to ask yourself those kinds of questions so that you can overcome those negative voices. You also have to allow yourself to be aware of a detox, so journaling, yoga, something that can keep your energy flowing when you have those negative voices showing up. We have the energy of Tiferet. Tiferet is the energy of beauty, the energy of converting spirit energy into matter or into creation itself. When Tiferet shows up for us, is really an opportunity to analyze what we're working from at a spiritual heart-based level. Tiferet really asks us to live in the highest vibration that feeds us and others by simply taking action. So if you feel inspired to go do yoga every day because this has been something that is giving you life, continue to do those things. Follow that continuous vibration of spirit that's inspired in every action while showing other people, adjusting reality around that, and really fulfilling yourself to the maximum degree. Tiferet is a beautiful energy because it's the balancer of all things. It's almost like the etheric energies itself that combines the wisdom of potentiality of spirit itself. Now, I'll analyze that, there are going to be some things that seem halted during this time as you continue to go after what you're looking for. This is willpower. So far this year is about willpower and staying gridlocked onto your manifestation. So this is telling you that when things seem stuck, you have to what? Be like Ganesha, be like Siddha. Nothing's going to shake you from what it is that you want to be accomplishing. When those negative thoughts are like, why is this happening? Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. It's only on a freeze. You can unfreeze everything. As long as you don't see, an ice cube as a non-changeable aspect of reality, you're fine. Like, you can melt the ice cube, you can add more water to the ice cube. There's so much you can do here if you don't let the ice cube become like an indestructible quality in reality. Things freeze, things unfreeze. Allow yourself to go with the ebbs and flow of reality and work on yourself. Stay true to yourself. Your manifestation will create itself in due time. We have the energy of the Knight of Swords coming up, basically telling you don't waste time. Wherever you feel frozen, find an alternate route, okay? Don't get stuck on that one thing that's frozen. Find an alternate route around it so you can stay productive and in flow. But just because things are frozen doesn't mean you cannot be in flow. While we're also looking at this energy, we're stepping into the intellectual richness that protects our fertility and makes children respectful towards their parents. So this is a good time for women and children in general. If you do voodoo, this is like an Azali Dantor month that you might want to do any of your voodoo spells with in March. But basically, when this energy presents itself, is reminding us that, hey, there's a healing, nurturing energy that's present here. A lot of like Isis energy in March that's presenting itself. Go with it. Let it heal your inner child. Let it heal any feminine wounds you have. If you're a man, let it heal anything that, might be unacceptable within yourself just because you're a man, right? You may be a little bit sensitive and you don't like the way that you're sensitive or whatever, right? We have all divine feminine and divine masculine inside of us, and a lot of the divine feminine energy here is going to be healing us. We have the energy of the Page of Pentacles reminding us how to acquire more abundance. Page of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles. It's transferring over to the next month. Here it's reminding us to stay loyal and have our allegiance, our friendships, and our reconciliations will be a vibration that we're going to step into. So if there are people that you really want to connect with that you stop talking to, that month of March is a good time to set the intention of, I want so-and-so to come back into my life for whatever reason. I highly recommend that you make sure that you're absolutely sure before you call a person back into your reality, because you might think good things about this person and this person is not in alignment with you and you call them into your reality, and it just causes more turbulation across like your experience with your personal creations. So remember, here again we have that energy of loyalty and allegiance, right? That's very similar to the energy of Siddha, right? And you have to allow yourself to see even more of those similarities coming through the reading so far. I lost track of how many synchronicities have happened in this reading so far, but you have to be true to not only the people who are helping you, the people who are supporting you, but yourself and your project. You're in a relationship with the manifestation that you want to be embodying. Relationships are not always easy. We have the energy of the Hierophant. I didn't even look at this card, but I said relationships are not easy. The Hierophant marries people. You're in a marriage with the reality that you want to create, and you have to continue to cultivate yourself towards that reality. This energy is divine forgiveness. It obtains friendships and favors of the great and secures promises. So here again, it's like a healing vibration, not only to the divine feminine, but opening up doors as we let go of the old. If you're holding on to anything right now against anyone for whatever reason, and you want to beat the curve by the time you get to March 2023, you definitely want to allow yourself to, you know, start forgiving that person now. Like, we're in December 2022. Start forgiving yourself or that person right now. A lot of the March energy also indicates some level of needing to forgive oneself and see things from a higher perspective. This angel stands in defense of what is precious. So you're protected if you're living in the highest vibration possible, if you're living in your truth, you're living in your authenticity, you're dedicated to what it is that you truly feel like your dharma is, you're going after it no matter what, success is guaranteed, is pretty much what that's saying. Now, turbine is also an energy of chaos, similar to the energy of the freeze. There's going to be chaos happening around you because chaos is necessary to reorient reality. This chaos I'm feeling is going to be more so like a societal chaos of some sort that's going to cause some tension so that people can stay in a specific framework. And depending on whether or not you want to obey that is going to be what guides you towards your success. This is kind of very similar to like the oppression of 2020. So you definitely want to be able to pay attention to the pattern and not fall into it yet again. We have a Titanic summons. This is the energy of the spirit of fire, the ability to create, but also the ability of destruction simultaneously. Fire can go wild and just wreak havoc, right? Or fire can be controlled and used strategically in a bunch of different applications. So here the spirit of fire is fully in action. It's ready to go in whatever way that its path of least resistance is. We want to open up the potentiality of omnipresence, omnipotentiality to our favor by being open to our own transformation. So in March, you want to be like, okay, you know what? There's a lot of resistance, or maybe I'm so afraid, or whatever. I'm going to completely surrender to the wave of energy that's coming through, just so I can make sure that I'm fully embodying everything I need to do. And you listen to the messages, and you feel the vibration, and you let it guide you, and you get closer and closer and closer to full embodiment, to being the one who got it owned. All right. Now this is another fire vibration, and it's about doing extreme skill practice, which is surrendering in this case. The biggest skill practice you can do right now is to surrender. And as you do that, you will go through an intense energy of healing with this Vaticum card. Canaanite Babylonian god of the sun and justice. His name escapes me right now, but his vibration is literally to live in your highest vibrational truth. Highest vibrational truth, highest vibrational truth. The combinations of messages that are coming through. Also, the fact that we were reading in Ketu that people are going to be pursuing healing. We keep hearing the energies of healing going through here. Healing is also letting go of the old. Healing is not always easy. Healing is not going to always be comfortable. Like, it's one of those things that it needs to be paid attention to. We have the energy of the Golden Empress. This card is then saying that a lot of the energy from 2022 is going to crash course into March, okay? And March is going to have all the Venus energy that happened in 2022, us pursuing more of our goals, having a little bit more inspiration to be who we are. Is going to be accelerated and crashed into March 2023. Now, this is the potency of confidence and magnetism. Now, the Empress is associated to 3 in tarot. 3 is associated to 2 different vibrations. vibration and energy. It's also tied to creation, spirit guides. So it's very powerful ascended mastery energy. And when Venus is associated to the Empress energy as well, which is usually associated to that energy of rose gold or gold. Gold is a transmuting color that is pure in its vibration because it's transcending itself to create the gold color, right? So we're transcending what we perceive the powers of Venus, which are love, to be. We're transcending our own understanding of love. We're transcending our own understanding of passion. We're transcending our own understanding of what truth and authenticity truly mean at our foundation, at our core, for the rest of our reality, for the things that we choose to live in. This is a very powerful, powerful state of being. Finally, we have this last card, which is grounding. Are you having trouble bringing creative ideas to life? It may be time to ground yourself. Spend time in nature. Create structure in your day with routine. Connect with your physical body. And by exercising, move your energy to balance your root chakra. Root chakra. And I definitely agree with that because the Empress energy is the second chakra. So sacral and root chakras are very much so present in the energy of March 2023. This vibration of grounding has already presented itself already here in February. It definitely presented itself, and I believe as well. Yeah, no, it was in February. Yeah, and it's just kind of like still going on. The cool thing is like I've read many years. Most years can go like really random. So far, we have a very consistent message. Just stay focused on this one thing. Just stay focused on this one thing. The world's going to be burning around you. Just stay focused on this one thing. Right? So it's pretty cool to just be able to read that. So let's go into the next one. All right, so going into April, this is going to be affecting mostly Aries and some Taurus people. We have Pratyahara. And this card is basically stating that even though we have gone through these shifts right here throughout these months, like we've let go of what doesn't serve us anymore, and we have to stay dedicated to that. Our interest in the physical world is going to diminish because we are now fully attuning ourselves to who we truly are and our full potential by having done so many different shifts. Not only are we cultivating our mind and saying, I really do authentically feel this way about this one thing. I'm letting go of everything else so I can become this one thing. It's an all or nothing vibration of self-awareness. Maybe you let go of coffee, let go of watching porn. Maybe you let go of eating chocolates. Maybe you let go of whatever, right? You start going to the gym and not having excuses anymore. Whatever it is that your vibration is, that's okay. Honor that and continue to fulfill that as you find more of yourself. By April, you're going to realize that you've let go of a lot. You're almost like a new person. And being on this vibration, you're going to step into like a fertile timing. This is Mokos, which is basically reminding you that by resetting yourself, you have the most ability to reform yourself because there are no anchors, no cords, there's no restrictions, there's nothing holding you back. You get to actually step into a full sense of self. We have the energy of the Hierophant that shows up, and it also shows up upside down. Now, the energy of the Hierophant, when it shows up right side up, is the energy of Adonai, the energy of God. When it shows up upside down, it's going to seem like the world is getting further away from the concepts of singular love. It's going to have more Taurus energy, headstrong energy on that card as well, is one of the energies that show up. So grounding is going to be more necessary than ever during April. There's going to be such a deep shift that the people who have been doing the personal work are going to see, okay, I'm no longer going to be attached to the material world for the time being. I'm going to keep transcending my shopping addiction, whatever, and be more of who I truly need to be while fulfilling themselves. Again, this is like almost an echo of 2020. In 2020, there were people who completely succumbed to the events that were happening, and they shut down and stopped fulfilling themselves. And there were people who kept working on themselves, studying, they kept traveling, they kept doing whatever it is that they felt was in alignment with them. And we saw the results of that. A lot of people during that time in 2020 accelerated themselves, became completely brand new people. And this is the same energy that's going to be present in April. It's extremely important to do grounding energy. When the rest of the world seems disconnected from source, you can definitely make the most happen. So the Queen of Wands states that if you can allow yourself to be in harmony with all this energy, you will be able to find peace. Divine power guards against mental troubles. Guards against mental troubles. Very similar energy with Ganesha, who was telling you to watch your mindset, right? If you watch your mindset, you have the ability to definitely manipulate reality, because reality is mental. Here, when we step into April, if you've been doing the work, just as it's being expected by the cosmos, you will have a repetitive pattern that then tells you you have nothing to worry about. The Queen of Wands energy presented itself earlier as well with the Sept rebirth energy in January. We start seeing how the vibrations are echoing back and forth. There are several feedback loops here, because everything is supposed to go under one tone. Are there people who are going to follow the vibration and the synchronicities that are being presented to them? No. Are there people who are going to do it? Yes. Are they going to do it because they know this kind of reading? Not everyone. Some people are just going to do it naturally because they're in tune with the cosmos, okay? So pay attention. This is the weather. This is what's going to happen regardless of our participation. And these are the things that we need to be focusing on regardless of our participation, right? So you can be proactive doing the energy work now, preparing yourself. And that's what I do. Like I read the whole entire year, and then I sit down and I'm like, okay, how can I do energy work for myself so that the year is easier for me? That's an advanced shaman technique. Read the weather. If you know it's going to rain, wear a raincoat. Why are you going to make it so complicated, right? And most people have failed to do this. So then the star energy comes out. Clemency and equilibrium. It protects against attacks in the courts. So here there's going to be some sort of revelation rather with the justice system. It's also going to be an equilibrium on what justice actually means at the core of humanity and ourselves. This could be outwardly or inwardly that we do it as a society collectively. So it really just depends on how things unfold. All timelines are moving. These are the checkpoints that we have to go through pertaining to the zodiac energies. So here we're going to look at the star, and the star is saying that this has to happen. This is orchestrated already in perception. We have the energy of the chariot, Michael, which is candle magic, flame magic, south magic. It's again more fire. We had fire previously in the reading that was coming up. We're having even more fire come up now in movement. So the fire is spreading. A perseverance, success in conflict, overcoming adversity. Here again is an echo of March, just telling you, hey, no matter what's being thrown at you, you better not give into those thoughts that you're fucked, right? Or that it's too difficult for you to get over, because that's what's going to create the limitation in your reality. That's what's going to stop you. That's what's going to destroy you. And that's what you need to be very, very attentive of. We have the energy of the rain, the angel of basically emotional release. And the angel of rain reminds us to let go of any stagnant emotions that are holding us back. We are truly in this place now of healing, which states that in order for us to truly become more of what we need to be, we need to not only forgive ourselves, forgive others, but also actually deal with the emotions that are latent and are there. Oftentimes we think by just forgiving it'll make us forget about having to deal with the emotion. But everything is neutrality. The main message here is to stay focused, but also there's a message here of neutrality. And it's basically telling you that once you choose to fully embrace the message, you stop running from what makes you feel uncomfortable, you will truly be able to see the focal point in your reality. Practice, practice, practice. This is a skill set. You're learning a vibration that is eternally there for you and is going to help you shift your reality in many ways. In order for you to do that, you also have to stop caring of what other people might think about you, or how they're living their lives, or what their limitations are. Oftentimes people will come through and be like, you'll never be able to be successful doing this one thing. That's their opinion. You got to go off of your vibe. Like, if you create your reality off of other people's beliefs, you'll never be able to fully step into your full vibration. This energy of self-fulfillment comes again back over in January, talking about the Adamans vibration. It's about service to self in this vibration of 2023 so far up into April. We have the energy of Thanatos, which is the energy of death, completion, support, and expectancy. So here's the energy of telling you, you have to let completely everything else that's been holding you in April die. It doesn't matter if it's family perceptions, personal perceptions, excuses you're creating, whatever. Anything else that's still holding you back at this moment has to be let go while the rest of the world burns. And it's interesting that the Thanatos energy shows up because it indicates death, like massive death. And this can be internal consciousness death, or it can also be physical death. Again, kind of echoing some of those 2020 vibes that are coming up. And it's very clear that when you see that death, you tend to like forget about the power of God. That's why that Adonai card shows up upside down. Finally, we have the energy of money. Embrace and appreciate your relationship with money. Schedule a money date and review your financial flow. Affirm, money flows to me when I need it. Money supports my desires. Money comes to me from many different sources. Money is a powerful tool that helps me and others. The root chakra. So this is the second time that we're now being repeated the root chakra coming up. We also see a lot of grounding energy coming up through the whole entire reading, which is your 10th chakra. So it seems like the first 4 months of 2023 is going to be the 10th and the first chakras that need to be definitely worked with, as well as monitoring our second and third chakras. That's going to be the focal point. So it's a very mind over matter kind of energy. And remember, I was talking about financial struggle over here as well. So it's interesting how that card starts popping out and starts talking exactly of issues that are talking previously here. It's just kind of like an echo, like it has to happen, like a financial collapse or shift, economical struggle, consciousness revolution kind of energy. It has to happen for us to get to the next level, and you need to be true to who you are to survive it, basically. All right, so now we're going into May, Taurus, Gemini energy. We have the first energy here, which is pranayama, telling us about our breath. Our breath can bring us into a very deep, relaxed sensation, or it can bring us into a hyper awareness. It really just depends on what kind of lifestyle you want to work. Breath is life. If you're taking quantum Reiki, breath of life. That's the key for May, okay? The breath of life. But through the breath of life, that's when we're really capable of truly understanding, what is going on with our body, how we process our bodies, and what our body is trying to actually say to us behind it all. Breath work is going to be something that clears the mind, clears the pathways as to what you need to be doing. This is all solar plexus energy. Now we have the energy of Idun, which Idun is all about youth. The fountains of youth is another concept that you want to maybe start studying upon. But when we start looking at the solar plexus chakra, the solar plexus chakra is the gateway to the inner child. Pranayama, breathwork, brings us back to states when we were a child. Holotropic breathwork is something that's very common. So when we look at this energy, it's really, really just reminding you to have fun during this process. And if you do start processing things from your inner child, it's okay to do so, because you are creating a new reality. That energy of Ra. Ra is the energy of the sun. This is the second time we have an indication of energies going towards the sun. Deep magic as well. And actually, this is actually like the third time we go into the sun, because Sekhmet is the sun goddess as well. So we see Mother Earth magic, Sun magic, Celtic magic really flowing back and forth, being true to ourselves, right? So we can fully embrace our life. Now, Ra, when it shows up with the King of Wands, he's saying like, at this point in May of 2023, take a second to reflect on all the things that you have done and how you can improve. It's another checkpoint on how to become better at what you have been doing, dropping a little bit more of the old and then simultaneously creating something brand new. Your projects are going to get accelerated, so it's also very important that you do a self-analysis. During this time, you're not going to feel grounded though. The polarity of reality is going to drastically shift from the energy of April. So April's going to seem kind of crazy. You're going to need a little bit of grounding work there. It's going to get even more ungrounded in May, which is okay, but don't worry. Stay focused on the through, or the option, the opening at spirit level. If you stay focused on your spiritual work, on your spiritual energy, on your spiritual reality, the energies that you're bringing into your grand creation, if you don't let go of that and you keep going in the direction that you need to go, you will see the openings answer themselves. So like doorways just magically open for you that you never thought were there or possible. It's very important during May that you stay focused no matter what thoughts and what tensions start coming up. We have the Eight of Swords. You can subscribe to be part of the pain, or you can subscribe to free yourself from the pain that is available during this time. Truth and justice, protection from enemies who would steal one's fortune. You're going to see a lot of the fake friends fade away. All the haters are going to start making themselves available. You're going to be able to let them go if you choose to, or you can keep fake friends and people around you. It's so important to allow yourself to unsubscribe from things that you feel are not helping you during that time in May. Truth and justice is going to be the main vibration. If you're not living in authenticity, as the rest of the reading has been telling you, then you're going to have a problem, okay? A lot of throat chakra energy is also controlling all of 2023. We have the energy of the Queen of Cups, which is telling you to use your wisdom and use your resources and use your happiness to share it with the people who are willing to spend and give back that kind of energy. It's very important. There's going to be a state of redemption here, and it serves against enemies of religion and governs chastity. So anyone who's going against like a framework is going to have an issue. So don't be surprised if there's some narratives talking about energy healing that shows up, or even people start saying their definition of religion is different. Like maybe spirituality becomes a religion versus having to go to the church. There's going to be some sort of religious tension that shows up during this month, and it has to again change the framework of our reality with Metatron. Metatron is the great orchestrator of divine geometry, which creates the world. There's going to be an advancement and progress, which teaches us our guides and records of events in the book of life, but usually that shift is going to be very, very dramatic and full of tension. It's also the energy of the Wheel of Fortune, which tells us, it's going to be a good thing at the end of it all, but it doesn't necessarily give us that peace of mind that it's going to be completely easy as the transition starts to surface and create itself, right? So this month is a lot of like mental clearing, a lot of mental dexterity, a lot of like connecting back to your roots, healing the inner child, getting closer to the inner child, living like a child a little bit, letting go of a lot of the worries that might be affecting the rest of the world. And that's going to be like a mental practice, literally. It's almost like you have to unsubscribe from the planet so that you can live in your own personal utopia and earth. And some people are like, that's super disassociative, or that's like bypassing. But if it's bypassing, then why isn't it an option? Reality is infinity. If you truly want to live the best life that you want to live, you got to go into your own little world and thrive there, and then let that world grow until it becomes part of the greater ecosystem that everyone agrees with, that is the world, right? So this is what's going to be happening during this time, is like your thoughts have to be super, super intense. And this is the numerology of 233. So staying positive while your creations are coming into fruition, and you're creating more from that initial foundation that you've been setting up in the rest of these months. We have the energy of the angel of the unseen. A lot of things that have been, kept hidden are going to surface. And then a lot of ways that the universe is orchestrating itself is not going to make sense. It's going to seem like you can't really see how this is all coming together, how it's going to find some sort of balance. The chaos itself is going to be like echoing a lot. It's really important to just understand that the entire 2023 year is essentially a practice of the occult, practicing that which is hidden and surfacing it into this reality. This is a lot of energy that's Amun, Atum, right? In Egyptian culture, it's a lot. A lot of it has to do with self-realization, which is something that you can't see, right? Your willpower is not something you can physically see. It's a force of nature. It's a power that most people don't know how to cultivate on the regular. An emotional power, a frequency of energy, a perception, a law of reality, right? That actually does things. And this is what it's bringing up to you. We have the energy of thug life. There is going to be a lot of scandal when it comes to politicians and like how the world's being governed and how different situations are going to be led at a global scale. There's a lot of like thievery energy that's happening there, but it's going to be blasted away and it's going to be brought into radical change because it's absolutely necessary, and it's going to bring a lot of blessings for a lot of people. Now, this doesn't mean that it's a utopia, but it's going to mean that, the world is fed up and the world wants a dramatic change, right? We have the energy of the prince, the sorrow, lost valor, and serendipity. With any death, it's not easy, right? Every death is like, if you ever break up with an old ex, and that's what we're doing, right? Like, the reality we've all been living with came to a head in 2020. We saw that we were dating a narcissist essentially in 2020, which is like the old reality that, our lover is that old reality that's been holding us back. And progressively we've been like, hey, I got to get out of this relationship. Let me organize and put things in place so I can get out and be single or go into a new relationship with somebody else. And around here in May, that's literally what we're doing. We're like, it's time to go. And sometimes when you break up with somebody, you break up with a reality, it's sad. You put investment into it and you don't want to like lose certain things that are a part of it, but you have no other option. And that's what is really trying to remind you of right now is the act of embrace the sorrow, get to the next level. You can do it. Don't get stopped by anything. Now, the reason why is because I am worthy. Affirm to yourself, I am always enough. Just as I am brilliant, loved, and complete, right? And this is again the energy of the solar plexus chakra that started off here, very mind oriented, conditioning yourself to be beyond what reality has to offer and what reality is trying to continuously just keep you subscribed to. All right, it is day 3. I told you you want to leave this on the table so it does not get bothered. That way you can come back to it whenever you need to and you can read it really easily. So we already got all the vibes for the rest of the month. Let's go into June. June comes out with Bhuvaneshwari, which is basically telling you to focus your mind on meditative thought. Allow yourself to really be in this present moment of all of your thoughts and let them help you organize and create the next steps for you. It's only when you sit in silence and you sit in your own meditative space, your inner sanctuary, you sit with your thoughts and you feel comfortable with whatever answer that needs to surface, that you're truly able to transcend. Transcendence is integration. It's accepting what needs to be accepted, even if it's difficult. Integrate it into part of your being, and then use that to propel yourself in the motion of ascension or upward, if you want to think about it that way. Then we come back to the energies of Abate, which is the Taino goddess of the Puerto Ricans basically. She's connected to the infinities, the ocean, the moon, the earth. She has all these different vibrations of self-sustenance. So these two cards are really reminding us that during the time of June and all the Geminis and Cancers, you're going to be going through an introspective, meditative state that's going to bring a lot of different answers for you. It is going to make you want to be more generous with your wisdom, and it's going to allow you to understand really advanced concepts that the average person cannot understand. This is a lot of cosmology based energy that's going to be happening in June of 2023. This energy is going to be mostly for you to embrace the things that don't make sense, the illogical, the irrational, the things that can't be spoken of, and actually do something with it, because it's all coming through so you can have a higher perspective. Now, higher perspective is also higher consciousness. What's the difference? Well, you can have a different perspective, which is looking at it from a different angle, or you can have a higher consciousness, which is the ability to look at previous information and integrate it with more complex information, or you can even have a change in perception, the way you look at something altogether. Instead of it being red, it is, the alphanumeric code of the color red for the web, right? Like these different kind of like palette combinations of color. This is the same concept that comes with this fly card. What kind of wisdom are you acquiring based off of your experience? Is it higher consciousness? Is it higher perception? Is it higher something else? That's what's really going to be coming in through your reality at this time. The Knight of Pentacles shows up, which the Knight of Pentacles kind of echoes a little bit earlier with the Nine of Cups, which is basically saying you're going to get a lot of abundance during this time. It's a great time for identifying any traitors and destroying their plans. And it's also a moment where you're going to submit to higher order. So higher energies, a higher sense of self. You're going to be aware of very, very deep burning truths that exist inside of you that have to just be accepted and rolled with, right? You're going to notice that you don't really want to do something anymore, and you're being driven to let it go and abandon it. We have the energy of the Five of Pentacles. Even though the Nine of Pentacles tells you that you're going to have a lot of abundance coming your way, you won't be able to help a little bit of this uneasiness of whether or not abundance is coming on its way. Have patience, okay? The secrets of nature are going to be revealed to you. The secrets of your own abundance and your own progress during the time of June are going to be surfacing. Remember what the rest of the reading was talking about earlier. It was talking about you being a manipulator of your own reality. You need to stay at the peak of your own manifestations and your own creations. That way you can get what you're looking for. You need to stay focused. You need to have an iron will, right? You need to be dedicated, right? And authentically dedicated is the energy. So when this Five of Pentacles comes up, it's mostly like you're spreading the knowledge that you have into every area of your life, especially your industry. So when you're going through doubt, allow yourself to recognize you've been through the rest of the year. It's gonna work out. Like if you've gone this hard and you followed all the tips of this year, it's going to work out. We finally come with the Ace of Wands. This is about you embracing and completely owning your own personal power. This is a great time to multiply, and you'll be very fertile for all of your creations. But you need to also understand that there might be times where you're going to be impatient. Patience is twice being reminded here. The need to be patient here and the need to be patient here. Patience has to be the virtue that you cultivate. Patience means something different for each person, okay? Do my Star of Lakshmi exercise if that's something you have to check out. But it's also telling you that you don't have any despair you need to worry about. You are protected from despair. There's a lot of protection during these first 6 months. We have the energy of Azazel. Even though we're protected and we're really focusing on our meditative state and the things that we truly want to be embodying for our reality, and we're really cultivating a new level of consciousness, a new level of higher awareness, and we're taking the time to actually become more of who we truly want to be. Azazel shows us a little bit of lust, and this usually shows up as a form of distraction. So during this time in June, you may notice older people as well, surfacing, people that you haven't talked to in a long time. You might even realize that you might feel like all these other projects just came out of nowhere and they're taking you away from your main goal. Azazel is not only tied to lust, but also war. So there's going to be a lot of aggressive energy during June, which might make people get more in fights. We might actually see physical war happen at a greater scale physically in the world, right? But this is also going to be the ability to unlock sacred divine techniques that are offensive. So warlike sacred techniques that are going to be surfacing with that. Don't get caught up in a pleasant distraction. If you do, a lot of bad things will surface as a byproduct of it. In June, you need to exercise being focused on your goal more than ever and correct back on anything that wants to take you down. Allow yourself to understand that right now is the moment for growth. And when you're growing, there's the ability for deceit to show up and also some need to rebalance karma by atoning to it. This energy of June is telling you it's a great dark energy of self-awareness, self-fulfillment, self-growth, self-dedication. It's going to be worth it, even though it's going to be challenging, but you also have to be aware of your boundaries. Then we come to the energy of sparking the conversation. Are you blocking the manifestation of your desires through your conversation? Where are you feeling stuck? Create a new story you wish to tell yourself and others. Very powerful, right? This kind of goes back into some of the previous messages that we're seeing here, being able to have a higher consciousness, right? Having a higher consciousness is having a different story and even a different identity you work from. So sometimes you need to be able to step into this self-awareness of, I choose to be a king from now on out. And I'm going to live that life of a king and I'm going to let it manifest for me. And I'm going to make choices like a king and I'm going to keep living that life no matter what. And if that's the vibration you want to be living, you have to allow yourself to fully embody that. And that's going to be very much so in alignment with a lot of the other messages that are happening over here about authenticity, feeling protected. You know, we're starting to see these echoes of meditative change, controlling your mind over the last couple months, right? So we're stepping into a little bit of throat chakra energy here. So now that we've read the first 6 months of 2023, what is the main energy that's going to be kind of driving all this, right? We want to know first the details that are happening, and then we want to read the massive cosmic energy. So if we start from the beginning, it reminds us to have focus. Artemis is the goddess of focus, all right? She's the bow and arrow carrier, so she has to allow herself to really, like, keep her eye on the prize and then hit with extreme accuracy if she wants to. This is great if you're practicing any of the Antojai alchemy in our community and you're becoming an alchemist and ascended master. The 11th frequency of any of the material that I've taught you is very valuable during the first 6 months of 2023. And look at this. Artemis gives us another protection vibration, reminding us again another synchronicity when it comes to what to expect during this entire first 6 months. The problem here is people are going to have a true restriction with injustice. They're going to have strife and they're going to have to figure out how they can come up with new solutions regardless of what's happening at a world view. Now this energy too is reminding us a lot of the afterlife and the wisdom, the truths that are existing behind reality. A lot of self-awareness is going to be manifesting itself amongst the injustice and the strife that injustice brings across these first 6 months. That's why we start off the month being told really focus on yourself. That's what's going to carry you through the chaos that's going to be happening globally. At the time right now of this reading in the US, there's a lot of debate over Twitter and debate over, manipulations at different degrees of our society. And this, we can see how these energies right now are going to play out. So I actually don't watch the news or anything like that. That's just not kind of like my vibe. Yesterday was the first time I watched the news in like months and months and months. And then after I had read up to about here, watching the news was like, oh, yep, that's exactly what we're going to be walking into. And I hadn't even watched the news. And then this is coming up again. So we also have the energy of the angel of the unseen that shows up on second time here. The angel of this unseen is saying that there's a lot of secrets that need to come through. Transparency is necessary for evolution of all degrees, like especially when it involves a ton of people. Transparency is absolutely needed for the success of that. With the whole entire collective race is trying to find a level of ascension and growth that has been missing from our culture and from our way of doing things for a very long time. In order for that to happen, we must allow the hidden to surface. This is very much in alignment with the energies of the Egyptian god Amun, right? The god of the hidden, as well as the god of Egyptian culture called Atum, which is the god of everything long forgotten and everything that has yet to exist. So in order for us to transcend, the most valuable thing during this time is the energy of Jocko, which is the energy of the comedian, the energy of happiness and laughter and making jokes out of difficult situations so that we can keep our energies high and flowing in the direction that we truly want to be flowing in. It's very important that you stay upbeat, even though you're going to have your ups and downs during the first 6 months of 2023. It's very important that you stay upbeat, even though you're going to notice the ups and downs and the chaos that is happening around you. Society has to change. A lot of you have been asking for a better world, and a lot of you thought that the better world would come without any form of resistance, right? Or any form of discomfort. Oftentimes, if you want to move into a bigger space that can accommodate you and your needs, you need to do the unpleasantness of having to pack everything, move it across town, and then rearrange and pack again, right? Like put the things out in their perspective order, right? That's the energy of moving, right? You need to do the uncomfortable to actually make a shift, right? And that's just part of the equation. That's what's going to be happening in the first 6 months. You're moving from one reality to another. Make it fun. Have fun while you do it. Make jokes while you do it. Try to make other people laugh while you're doing it. If you have that play vibration, it's going to be easier to get it done, right? So let's go into the lower months. So since we already read this higher conscious vibration, let's read the subconscious vibration before we actually dive deeper into the lower months. So the first card that really shows up is the energy of the dark upside down. The dark reminds us that, people are during the next 6 months of the year are going to be fed up of all the stuff that they've just been letting slip by them, right? The things that they've been pressing snooze on, they're going to be fed up on. The things that they have been dealing with for a very long time, they're no longer going to accept. People are going to start waking up and they're not going to accept sleep anymore, is what this card particularly states. And then we have the energy of Ichchel. She's one of the goddess of sacrifices, and she's going to help us guide ourselves through this dark period where we choose no longer to be sleeping, right? Why is being awake a dark period? Because when you've been sleeping deliberately for such a long time and you suddenly wake up and you see the reality of things, that can be dark until you acclimate, right? So we're going through like this sacrificial phase that's going to be really impacting our heart and impacting the next choices that we end up doing in our reality. We're going to have the energy of the waning moon as well, which is basically going to bring us to this full potential of a change in perspective, looking at things from a new light that we've never been able to even perceive from a previous standpoint. This is something that is going to be extremely challenging for a lot of us because it's going to feel like what we thought we knew reality was actually isn't. And it's going to feel like your whole entire universe got flipped upside down. But that's the beauty of magic. Magic states that you are infinite, you have a ton of different possibilities, and what is up is also down, right? We have the energy of June coming up, June being the energy of necromancy. So there's a lot of death energy that is going to be really hitting the bottom 6 months of 2023. Now, the conscious energy is telling us that there's a lot of things that are going to be coming to surface that we need to be happy with across the entire year of 2023. And the subconscious is telling us throughout the entire year of 2023, there's a lot of death energy that we're going to be walking through this stage of self-rebirth and annihilation so we can truly recreate our reality that we really want to be in. These two elements over here impact the entire reading because they're part of the cosmic energy that encompasses the whole entire table. Now, the reason why this piece is only affecting primarily this portion is because the years get split up, right, in 6-month intervals. So we have a very conscious aspect 6 months, and then a very subconscious aspect every 6 months. A very masculine driven force every 6 months, and then a very feminine driven force every 6 months, right? The masculine and the feminine still influx and determine a lot of the events that are unfolding at a lower level. All right, so then we're going to go into July. July is going to be affecting Cancers and Leos the most. The first card that we have coming out is Prana. Prana is energy, and prana is a form of energy that comes through thoughts, through energy work of breathing, through doing yoga. Prana is the vital force that drives everything and everyone in the world, right? And there's different ways people interpret prana. It can be chakra, it can be mana. It really just depends on how you really connect to that concept. But there's a lot of introductory energy, like a new form of breathing energy that comes into your reality to help you really wash away but take a form of authority in your life. In order for you to really step into that, Yemaya shows up with surrender. And she is the goddess of the storm. She's the goddess of water. She's the great mother of all the mermaids. She's absolutely amazing. One of the great voodoo goddesses that, leads a lot of the initiations in that clan. So she's like the great mother overall. This energy of surrender with prana is stating that you're going to have an influx of energy that comes through, and it's going to feel like you don't know what to do with it. That's why you have to surrender into it, because you've already been doing the work on these higher months over here. You've been setting yourself up for success in those higher months. It's been difficult. Now the flow of energy has opened, and it knows what you want because you've been dedicated to the craft that you want to be enacting. And now you have to surrender so the flow, that water energy, can take over and guide you into the coming months, into the coming end of the year. We have the energy of Isis, which Isis is also connected to the moon, Mother Earth. She is the high priestess, balancing the positive and the negative. And one of the things that this Isis likes to really focus on is taking the fuck it pill. Just, if it's not working out, fuck it. Don't worry. Just focus on something else until the energies are aligned, right? Have fun. Being joyful of everything that you're doing. Have bliss. Allow yourself to share good times with people, and most importantly, share love, share inspiration. Your imprint on the world can mean so much if you're working from the highest spaces of energy possible, if you're passionate about what you do, if you surrender into your passion, if you surrender into your love, if you surrender into the fact that you believe that the universe truly does love you and wants to see the best for you, if you surrender into that energy, that prana, that's where you're going to be really in flow and manifesting what you want. You have to understand that this year is not about miracles. This year is not about, maybe a previous year where you've asked for something and it just randomly came out of nowhere. 2021 was one of those years where you could ask for almost anything you wanted, and the energy was so lucid and it just came to you without very much resistance, right? For many of you that ended up figuring out that 2021 was an energy that you could do that with. This year is not like that. This year is not going to happen in terms of miracles unless you are the miracle. Pay attention. Miracles are not going to happen unless you are the miracle. Miracles are not going to happen unless you are the miracle. I'm going to say it one last time. Miracles are not going to happen if you are not the embodiment of the miracle itself. Be the dream and you will see the dream manifest. Be the manifestation now, even though there is no evidence that you are that manifestation. Know that the reality has to change because you've chosen to go after a manifestation, and that manifestation is guaranteed to be yours. But there are no miracles during 2023, baby girl. And you need to understand that nothing's going to do the heavy lifting for you either. If you're one of those alchemists that has been very dedicated to this energy of oh, like I do alchemy for everything, and like my spells and my spirit guides do everything, and my Reiki does everything and whatever. That's not going to be what happens in 2023. All those tools are very much so necessary. You need to be able to use them. You need to be able to summon them. I'm not telling you to throw them away. But if you only rely on them for your success, it will not turn out the way you want it to turn out. That's just how it's going to pan out for you right now, okay? So you really have to understand that vital vibration. As we come into this understanding of the jump card, since the jump card jumps over boundaries or barriers, you need to understand that there's no going over it. It's simply going through it, right? Oftentimes we can skip around boundaries by walking around them, digging underneath, whatever. Right now, we need to blow past them. This month in July 2023 is going to be the make it or break it point for everyone who's been doing stuff in the first 6 months. If you are not dedicated to what you're looking for to embody in this year, the walls are going to present themselves and they're going to halt you. Only your willpower will get you blowing through that wall without any resistance. There's no need to fight though. The fight doesn't need to be a thing that you need to worry about, because reality is based off of perception. And July is really just telling you, like, whatever you accept, it is going to be your reality. Perception of a resistance, perception of a success, all perceptions are equal, especially deeply in July, which is going to be telling you a lot about who you are and where you're going to be going with that. Because if I see a blockage in front of me, I'm like, I'm blocked, I can't go any further, then that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what I'm going to sign up for. That's the reality that has to manifest itself. If I see a blockage in front of me and I said, okay, there's another way around this, I can blow through this, how do I get above it, and how do I, like, not accept this block as a whole? If you start just thinking in that way, you will find a solution to get around that blockage, and miraculous things end up happening when you embody that kind of energy. We have the Three of Pentacles, which is reminding us in July, try to spend more time with your friends and your family. Mental force protects against sorrows and illness. Another one of those sorrows, illness, Ketu was talking about it over there. Protection was spoken all about here. Mental force was spoken about in here at some level. There's a lot of messages here just telling us it's all about the mind. It's all about whether or not you are using your perception to your advantage. This is a really amazing year. This year might seem difficult hearing it, but it's going to be so worth it if you master it. You will be a different person when you master it. This is probably the strongest year I've ever read publicly out loud, and I am so stoked for it. Please be stoked for it. We have the Four of Swords, which is basically telling you let go of any of the tension that you might be subscribing to. Make sure that you are not so much focused on mission. There's a mission to succeed, but the mission is your purpose, right? Your purpose is transcendental of mission. There's mission and there's purpose. Purpose is more powerful than mission. You can have missions within your purpose to fulfill your purpose. You need to think in that fashion so you can bring out the most of your reality. It protects you against slander and impetuous people. Protection, another echo here manifesting itself. We have the Four of Cups, which is telling you to not get bored during this process. Around July, you're going to start noticing, like, wow, things are getting easier. Some of the tension that's been happening in the first couple months, are not hitting me as hard. I feel like I'm in flow. I feel like I'm really feeling that energy vibe, but it's still something doesn't feel right on, right where I want it to be, right? Don't let yourself be swallowed into any alternate reality. Enjoy your blessings. Don't worry about it. Here we have the Four of Cups, which is also reminding us of the healing capacity, protection from weapons, and safety in travel. July is a good time for you to go on a vacation. It's all about that energy of the sun and really enjoying yourself. We also see another healing vibration, another echo that aligns itself over there, and with all the other cards that we were reading. We have the Angel of Armaros, the Angel of Undoing. This angel is very powerful because it tells us that all the things that have been trying to hold us back are going to get automatically just discreated. And all the things that we have been accepting as a barrier in our reality are just going to start to fade away as we decide not to subscribe to that energy anymore, which is going to allow us to unlock a very deep, profound, ancient wisdom. And again, connecting us to our ancestors, allowing us to be more adept warriors at healing, at light work, at dark alchemy, at whatever form of magic you practice. At this point, I don't just align with healers. If you're on this channel of Antojai, you align because you want to master yourself in any vibration possible. That means you feel like you're a healer that wants to be the best healer possible. You're a light warrior that wants to be the best light warrior possible. You're a shaman that wants to be the best shaman possible. Whatever your identity is, that's what we're stepping into. It's no longer just about healing. The world doesn't need healing anymore. The world needs shifting. The world needs curing. The world needs perspective change. And you need to do that with a burning hunger. It has to be something, a desire that's so deep in you by July that it carries you into doing amazing things. Here we see the sword of the law stepping forth, and this sword of the law is like the ace of swords in a way, saying like you're picking up your power so that you can finally go to war. This is the mastery of self-discipline, faith, and bravery, okay? And that's one of the things that's really important during this time. Like, all this first 6 months was really trying to prepare you for this month right here, because this is the precursor that's going to really design what's about to come here. Once you step in July, you will be in a flow state, regardless of whether or not you've done a ton of work here or not, right? The flow state of self-discipline is going to give you control over the next steps in July. If you've gone through all the year without doing any of this work, then you're going to step into a flow state in July that is going to be very chaotic, very random. You're going to feel like you get things where you don't get things, and how do I figure myself out, right? So we enter in a flow state. Go with the flow. Let whatever resistance you are carrying go. To go with the current, hit the easy button. Allow yourself to surrender and be in the flow. That is pretty much all that we need to be paying attention to during July 2023, is really embodying that energy flow, going in flow with our truest desire. It's like the culmination of all these other months now in full effect. All right, so let's go ahead into August 2023. The first card that we come out with is Brahma. Brahma is the great creator. Brahma is the first step of creation that starts manifesting itself into all realities. It's a very beautiful energy that allows you to see the many perspectives of existence itself, as Brahma has many heads. We also go through a phase here in August, especially all you Leos and Virgos, where your ego and the ego's toxicity are going to be ripped away from you. It's going to be a very deep, introspective vibration if you're somebody who has a ton of ego and you haven't been willing to let go of that. That's the energy that's going to be presenting itself here, so you can really truly step into a self-awareness that is self-empowering and free of illusion. The ego itself is not the enemy, but when the ego becomes a dominant force in your reality, that's when it becomes a problem. The ego is a force of nature that we have to work with, and if you're not allowing yourself to be in harmony with it because it's dominating everything, then you're going to start missing the generalized greater messages of reality. It's a very destructive phase here in August, because as we destroy our ego and we let go of all the subscriptions of the ego, we're going to feel the influence of dominion and grief start to manifest. So we're going to feel like we're losing somebody. We're losing an old version of ourselves, and it's okay to grieve that person. It's okay to give that person time, to give it care, to give it love, to be in a self-awareness state of appreciation even for that person, and let that person actually go. The destruction is going to happen societally as well. So you're going to see that a lot of people are going through this phase with you. So it's going to make it a little bit easier for you. Allow yourself not to feel like you're being bullied, but more so that you are a butterfly coming out of a cocoon, getting to the next level. A lot of the inner child is going to be surfacing during August, which is going to be a lot of like unanswered things with the inner child, maybe some stuff with your family, maybe some stuff with yourself. You'll have some reawakenings of passions that were happening with the inner child. Do not repress the inner child. And if you end up seeing that you are repressing the inner child, take some time to journal, talk to that person, and see how you can truly bridge the gap between them and you. We have the energy of the sands coming up, where time is going to feel very, very non-existent during August. It's going to be there, but it's not going to be there. It's going to be super fast, and it's also going to be super slow. It's going to seem like you're living in a dream, and everything is like very, very lucid. During the end of during the end of December 2022 right now, when I'm reading this, it's the same kind of energy that's happening right now. Everything feels very lucid, out of order. A lot of deja vu is happening. That's going to be the same energy in August. The reason because we are stepping into a sense of self-transcendentance, transcendentalism, sorry. We're stepping into a higher state of self-transcendentalism. This energy in August is very 5D energy, fifth dimensional energy. We've already been living in all the dimensions all at once, but the fifth dimension is going to be most apparent during this time. We also have the energy of the Eight of Wands, which says, do not sign up for extra work that you do not need right now, okay? Focus on the good things that you have. Be passionate towards anything that makes you feel like you're connecting towards source, okay? So if you feel like when you're playing music, you're really connected to source, keep doing that. That's part of the equation. It's something you definitely need to be embodying. That's part of your magic, right? And embrace the fact that maybe sometimes you feel like you don't live in a solid reality. That's a grandeur that a lot of people can't comprehend and don't accept for themselves. When you feel like you're lucid, accept that reality is lucid. If you feel like you're living in a dream, you are in a dream. So what can you do now that you're aware that you're lucid dreaming, right? Allow yourself to really embrace this new state of consciousness that enters in August, especially because you've been in such a deep flow since July. We have the energy of Uriel, which is also the energy of the tower. As we step deeper into this awareness, we're also going to start seeing some more problems surface. And some of those problems have to do with the disruption of order. It warns us of disasters, and it aids in transformation. So a lot of natural disasters are going to be coming potentially in August. Like worldly events that are going to be passing by that are going to be affecting a large amount of people. So disruptions in the order of things, the harmony of things is going to be happening during that time. We also have to embrace any death that might be happening. So again, endings and rebirth influencing health and longevity. This is literally echoing this right over here and that book over there, and many of the messages that are happening here. The death card is not always a negative vibration. It sometimes does indicate actual physical death, but in this case, it's indicating both physical death and it's indicating transformative death. We have another angel of the waning moon, another echoing from this area over here, reminding us that we are coming into a full awareness that can't be denied. It's always been there. We're just coming into a sense of embracing it. And it's going to have a furious response. Like as we're going through these shifts, it's going to be very powerful on many aspects, but it's going to be very difficult. And it's going to really captivate a lot of the attention of the people, which is going to start consuming hatred. A lot of black energy is going to be presenting itself during August. And when I was doing this reading and I was using my Mausoleo deck, I was like, I wonder if Abaddon is going to actually pop up in this reading, because I could sense it already, a lot of death energy here. And Abaddon, the angel of the void, is all about pestilence, corruption, and malice. Again, another black energy, very dark energy happening in August. A lot of deep wounds coming out, transforming and healing us, letting go of the ego, letting go of what our perceptions of reality are, of time. It's going to be very wavy energy here, especially because Abaddon is connected in many ways to adamants that's in this particular January energy here. See that this angel is really overlooking this particular vibration of reality. We start seeing, wow, like destruction is necessary in August at all levels. Destruction in Leo, destruction in Virgo, destruction in the month itself. It's all part of this greater contrast. Contrast is crucial. There will be times in our life where we don't like the direction we are headed. It's a sign to change our perspective or the situation. We always have a choice. Contrast tells us we can make a change to move towards joy. Where in your life are you sensing contrast? And that's basically the energy that's presenting itself right now. All right, so we're going to go into September. This is affecting Virgo and Libra. A lot of sexual energy is presenting itself in September with that Tantra energy. And we have a second echo of Abate that was showing up over in June with flexibility. So Abate was reminding us over there with the Queen of Cups energy to go with the flow and embody every aspect of nature. She shows up a second time in September to remind us to be flexible with the elements of nature. Tantra is also like this energy of embracing the taboo. So maybe around this time, we're going to start recognizing that maybe the dark is something that you want to work with, you want to explore, you want to understand a little bit more. Maybe by this time you've already been doing that type of work and your whole perspective on reality has changed overall. The Two of Swords tells us that September is a moment of peace, okay? And a moment for us to really connect with our community. It's also a moment for us to really connect with the internal storms of abundance. So this is going to be a healing aspect of our perceptions on money. This is going to be a healing aspect on guilt. This is going to be a healing aspect on money wounds. September's got a lot of money wound energy that's going to be presenting itself here. You have to know that you cannot bypass whatever situation is presenting itself during that time, and you don't want to let this situation flourish into anything other than what it is. So it's telling you, practice sex magic during September. That Tantra energy, practice sex magic, practice nature magic. Hey, get an Airbnb in a nature place and go have sex there. Like, that's pretty much the generalized healing root chakra, self-awareness energy that needs to present itself, especially if you're somebody who struggles with sex or your sexuality or your identity, gay people or people who have been sexually abused or people who don't feel sexy about themselves and their own figure. This is a month where a lot of that's going to be healed and it's going to be presented to you to overcome, because it's absolutely necessary for you to love yourself, love your body, love the way your natural processes are, so you can truly embody more of your nature. Abate is telling you to be willing to work with that process and, try to find community during that. Have peace with whatever comes through. A lot of self-acceptance is necessary during these types of healings. We have the Four of Pentacles, which tells you that you're going to have a lot of options that you can make. There's a lot of self-atonement. Atonement was presented earlier as well over in June. We see another echo here in June. Cures you of mental illness, another echo with the vibration of Ketu, and it brings deliverance from prosecution. So if you have any problems right now that are still pending, by September of next year, a lot of those problems should end up being resolved, especially if you have any legal matters. Other than that, this is going to be a self-healing month so far. We have the energy of the Queen of Pentacles, finding luxury in the moment and the things that you're doing personally. Here we have intellectual lucidity, and it provides consolation and compensation. This energy is very powerful in the sense that, the Queen of Pentacles is somebody who enjoys her life. And, when you have intellectual lucidity, on top of having all the lucidity training that's been happening so far here, you will start thinking in ways that other people cannot think, making you seem like a genius for other people, right? Because your brain is in such a different place than where other people can actually see reality from. You need to use this intellectual lucidity to create laws of reality that embrace an easier and more power version of yourself. So when you're lucid mentally, you should be taking those moments to say, I'm creating a law of reality right now that is empowering me to be happier and more in my full potential. We have the energy of the Three of Swords. You have to unsubscribe from anything that causes you a ton of heartache and pain. It's a month that we're going to be really understanding our submission to love, how that's helped us, how that has backfired on us. It's also going to help us cure more illnesses, influencing our paternal love. So people are going to want to have babies during this time. People are going to want to have to go ahead and fix any unresolved emotions and information that might be with a parent. This is going to be a moment of us thinking about what's going to be the tone of the rest of our life with the current settings that we have right now. If we don't deal with the things that have been hurting us the most during this month, what is that creating for the rest of our life, right? And this is very similar to a client of mine that I had, and I channeled for them, like, you need to spend some time with your parents, and you need to get to know your parents at a personal level, like as friends, not as just your parents. Because if your parents pass and you never got to know them as people, that's going to be something that looms over your head for the rest of your life, right? And it was kind of like, this is a very much so the same kind of energy, like changing your perspective on your parents, your life, the things that may have led your family members to being where you're at, the things that you may have always perceived about other people, and maybe setting yourself up to be a parent again. If you have multiple children and you have another one coming on the way, this is a very powerful energy to kind of even readjust and become even better of a parent, right? We have the energy of the angel of song, which is the angel of happiness, the angel of beauty. A lot of pain here, but it's going to be to lead you to happiness, basically. A lot of introspection here, a lot of sexual healing, a lot of root chakra healing coming back again, because Tantra is very root chakra, sacral chakra energy. That's all coming together, so you can definitely have this higher awareness of happiness, of what true joy and happiness mean in your life. And the happiness vibration, the joy vibration, is the vibration that's been led over here as well. Another echo that shows up there and has been showing itself consistently throughout the whole entire reading. Joy is the thing you need to be pursuing during the month of September more than ever, but you need to be doing that the entire year. We have tandem tomfoolery. It's going to seem like this month is wild. It doesn't really make too much sense to you. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of pain. It's going to be seeming chaotic, but just roll with it. Relax. Allow yourself to have some time to actually be a part of the experience, because if you're always finding some level of difficulty or tension, it's going to sometimes result in exactly what you want instead of you just being part of the ride. Oftentimes people are like, oh yeah, my life is a little bit too easy, I want tension. And when tension comes through, they're like, why do I have tension, right? I want ease. And it just becomes another tension for you to go ahead and find ease. This is a very powerful vibration that steps in for us to realize that all the things we need, all the things we have, all of everything has always been available to us. We just never took the time to actually address it. And this month of September is going to be a lot of grounding energy, rebalancing energy of who you are and what you want to be attaining later on. So if there's anything incomplete or anything that has made you feel like you're yearning or you have hope over, that's going to come to a very deep self-understanding of self-love. When manifesting love, it's important to start with yourself first. Do something sweet for you today. Celebrate yourself. And again, this right here goes back to that energy of Tantra at the very beginning of our reading, which is basically reminding us to be self-fulfilling within our own vibration. This month of September is probably going to be the deepest healing in terms of your unconscious mind versus the rest of the year. This was a lot of training the consciousness and the subconscious to be in alignment with each other. This is really focusing on the subconscious, and this is specifically the unconscious state that we've entered here. And we'll see whether or not the rest of these are still unconscious or they end up going back to being a mixture of the other ones. But September is going to be a very, very deep, almost unpleasant, but very rewarding month. Going into the energies of October. October has Lalita Tripura Sundari, which she basically reminds you that, have fun, sensuality. Here's another echo. Sensuality is obviously connected to Tantra, which is basically enjoying things even though people don't understand why you're enjoying it, right? So sensuality is something that actually is a tantric taboo concept for a lot of people. Like, you can't be sensual when you're eating, you can't be sensual when you're dancing, you can't be sensual when you're in everyday life. You can only save that for the bedroom. Those are all like taboo tantra like concepts. So Lolita reminds you sensuality is a form of nature. When you have sensuality in everything that you do, when you feel sexy going to the grocery store, if you feel sexy doing your work, if you give yourself the praise that you need to really feel fully embodied, this is the answer to what you seek and what you're doing and where you are and where you're going. This is a lot of that magical potential that's there. So you have to allow yourself to truly embrace your sensuality in every shape and form, because with the energy of Oshun, magical knowledge is through your sensuality, which allows you to defy the normal system of things, that you're going to not only unlock magical knowledge, but Oshun is the goddess of wealth. So you're going to also start absorbing a lot of wealth. Here we have the energy of malice is going to be disappearing slowly with that energy of Lucifer and the Knight of Wands, basically telling us that we're not going to be really giving our energy away so loosely. Malice was spoken of earlier in these 2 months over here. August was definitely talking about more malice. We see another echo reminding us of that energy. Finally, it's going to take about 2 months to kind of like shift out of this malice dark energy. So October is going to be very nice, especially for all you Libras and Scorpios out there. The cloud energy coming upside down, there's not going to be any confusion. You're going to know exactly what needs to be done. You're going to feel clearer than you've ever been before. It's going to feel like you took an Adderall and you're like wired and cleared and jacked and going for it. That is basically the energy that's presenting itself here. Six of Cups, you're no longer settling for anything less than what you deserve. You are motivated. It uplifts you towards whatever you feel like really drives you, and it'll save you from anything that makes you feel humiliated or like has been trying to take away from your energy. The Six of Cups is reminding you that you will reach your goal, because that's what you set your goal, your eyes, your power, your energy, your existence on. This is the moment where you see everything and you just go for it. There's no more confusion. By October, you prepared yourself all year. You've done the work. You've seen the progress. You've seen the tension. You've gone through the tears. And October is the month where you show up and you're like, I won this, right? So here we come through with the Five of Cups, reminding you, do not focus on the lack of prosperity. Actually focus on the good things that you have that make you prosperous. Maybe you have a wealth of knowledge that you've acquired that other people can't even begin to understand how wealthy you are in that department. Maybe you're very skilled at building household things. That's a form of wealth that many people do not have. Prosperity is in every way possible. Be creative with that prosperity. Be creative with yourself and embracing what your true potential is. This is also a time where there's going to be a destruction of your enemies and deliverance from bondage. If you feel like anyone has been holding you back unjustly or out of line, that's when you're going to be freed. You're going to be released from this negative vibration. We have the energy of the Ten of Wands, which finally tells us it's going to feel like a lot of the baggage we've been holding on to is finally being shut off. It's finally being organized. It's finally starting to make sense. It's finally, you know how they say hindsight is 20/20? Like after you've gone through the event and you look back on it, you're like, oh, that's why everything planned out the way it planned out. This is exactly the energy that we're talking about here right now. With this energy, we're going to have intense spiritual communication. We're going to get the influence of religious men's and we're going to see teachers and the men of law start to present themselves. So a lot of students will start going towards teaching. They might want to become religious leaders, and they also will be drawn to doing anything in law. So those areas are also going to be shifting, because this right here is giving me a lot of those echoes of Atlantis. These echoes of Atlantis are reminding us of the potentiality that we could be creating later on down the road. We have the angel of dust, which reminds us that there are specific things that need to be destroyed along the way, because again, we have a day of atonement. This is the day of atonement. We have now gotten another echo reminding us of atonement 3 times now, and it's going to be a very swift judgment that ends up happening. But while this is happening, there's going to be a brain grab. This is a battle for perception yet again. This is where that echo of when everyone's looking right, you look left, because that's where everything's playing out, right? So there's going to be some massive shift in the world that cannot be escaped. And then we have the vibration of El Shaddai, wisdom, paternalism, and kindness. The energy of the sun, the energy of being able to maintain order as well. El Shaddai is a great guide during this time. If you've never worked with him or it, read more about it. But this energy is basically the energy of Adonai, the strict power of God coming into full form. Where earlier in the year we were kind of disconnected in certain ways from Adonai, this is the next step of El Shaddai, which is one of the messengers of Adonai taking full form. Here we're stepping deeper into the throat chakra. This card is to support effective communication. Listen first. Affirm to yourself, I will find the right words to say in all situations and communicate clearly. I am honest and express my true self. Others will hear and receive what I have to say. This is the vibration for October. Very clear, authentic energy. This energy still vibrates with everything that was being told in the previous months. Another echo that we end up seeing. And this is how you can tell you're doing proper reading for year-long scopes. You end up seeing that they keep repeating themselves. They keep echoing themselves. They keep coming back and bouncing off with the same kind of messages and cards. Atonement as one of those being the main message here. And this is how you know, okay, wow, you're really locked on the patterns of the year. Now, this is the collective. This is what's going to be happening to the world, and this is what's going to be affecting us subconsciously, right? And consciously. These are the things that we're going to be seeing as an ecosystem. But you can still do another one of these templates just for your business, just for yourself, right? And you can still pull out even more information within this information right here. Alright, so we're going into November. November is Scorpio and Sagittarius energy, and we first come out with Dumavati. Dumavati is my girl. She is all about death and transcendence, and not being afraid of death, and not being afraid of the things that scare you. Like, ultimately, all those things that try to stop you from becoming the ultimate version of yourself are just thoughts. They're only processes that happen in every dimension, at every level, no matter where it is that you go, no matter where it is that you think. So you might as well just embrace it and go with it. Dumavati oftentimes looks like an old hag who's dying or already dead, fully kind of, just decaying in general. And she embraces the vibration of death, and she embraces the vibration of the void. Dumavati is another representation of the void, similar to Abaddon that we started kind of channeling over here. Here's another echo. Dumavati is very much so stepping into your power by not letting anything phase you. The second card that comes out is Chinnamasta. Remember how I told you at the very beginning when I started reading Ketu energy, I said, I feel like this is very much so in alignment with the Chinnamasta energy. Here's another echo of what I said at the very beginning, Chinnamasta. Chinnamasta tells you, again, with the 8th chakra that presents itself up here, to cut loose and transcend the illusions of death, time, and transformation by just becoming the person that you've always wanted to be. We also have the energy of Sedna, another mermaid connection to Yamoya with gratitude. You have to allow yourself to cut off the things that don't serve you anymore while being also grateful, right? A couple of years ago, I was going through a Chinnamasta lesson. I was told to stop talking to someone. I stopped talking to that person, even though it was very difficult for me to like have that conversation with that person, or even just let it go in general. And then I saw a bunch of magical things happen as I embraced death. And then today, looking back on the fact that I did a Chinnamasta move, I feel very grateful for all the things that have happened. So this is one of the things that's really coming out in November. November is going to be a month where you need to just totally 100% die at this point. Let go of anything and everything that is trying to hold you back, and just become that person of you with that version of you that you want to be with gratitude. Remember that you don't want to sit with the Eight of Cups, which is ultimately being idle or not being able to go after the things you want because you feel so comfortable. At this point, when you go through a massive transformational phase, it is very easy to let go of the old and completely just ignore it and forget about it. It's very important that you do not do that during this time. Even though you're letting go of a lot of the old and you decide to step into the next version of yourself, there's still time for you to hold on to a few things so that you have an easy transition. So don't just dash by it. Keep your arrow. Remember, Artemis started off over there, and she's one of the main energies that was going to be flowing through. The arrow, with the similarity of Artemis, is telling you do not lose your focus, because just because it's the end of the year, it can feel very easy to just let things slip by you. Do not let that happen. We have the energy of the Page of Wands, which is reminding us that you're still learning how to manifest truly, so don't ever forget that. You're going to have an increased propagation of light. It's going to confound the wicked, and it's going to save you from your enemies, so don't worry about people coming after you. We also have the energy of the Five of Wands. Do not focus on problems. Sometimes problems arise and you have to defend yourself and you have to work your way through it, but do not dwell on the problem. When you solve a problem, keep moving forward. Don't be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, because that's not going to help you. A lot of politics and ambitions, judgments that are going to be won in your favor, and the protection of all that seek truth. So if you've been working on your authentic vibration all year long, by November, massive payouts are coming through. All the governmental stuff is going to come to a head in the coming months over here down low, but we're going to see the totality of it in November. We also step into the energy of the Ace of Pentacles. Lots of awards are going to be collected in November. Divine blessing drives away evil spirits and rules agricultural production. So a lot of good stuff, a lot of freedom from famine, from economic upheaval, a lot of like this negative energy that has been kind of like causing flusters across the year. By November next year are going to be dealt with. We have the energy of the Angel of Death, Azrael, which is again just reminding us that the death energy, which is echoing across multiple different areas of this reading, is coming back again, just to remind you. All of 2023 is about letting go of anything and everything that you don't want to be. All right, so you might as well just sign up for it, work with it, and do the best that you can so you can get out on top. Because you need to understand the invulnerability of the leaf. This is coming back to the energies of Adamant's invincibility. Leaves can cut, and like if you've ever been cut by a leaf, it's quite amazing. Similar to paper. Paper can cut. Paper doesn't seem like it's very strong, but it can cut you still, right? Sometimes a leaf, you touch it and it has like these little spiky thorns, or it has like an allergic reaction that causes you so much pain. It may seem very fragile and delicate and it doesn't have any power, and yet it can cause havoc. The power of nature, the power of your nature, is a nature that can never be stopped if you truly allow yourself to fully embrace that energy and run with it no matter what. Purity of the mind. Maintain the purity of the mind and you will become invincible and invulnerable. The purity of the mind, another echo that's been repeated multiple times across this entire reading. You're almost there. You're almost done. 10 more sit-ups. November is telling you, do not give up right now. It may seem like you're already getting what you want, that, oh, you're tired. Oh, my God. All these things are panning out for you. It seems to be working out. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't give up. You're almost there. You want to finish the year strong. Keep going. Keep going. Meditate a little bit harder. Focus on the things that have happened in the year. I highly recommend that by this point, if you haven't already been keeping a journal of what's been happening to you so far this year, then you go ahead and you start focusing on writing all the blessings and all the lessons that you learned across this year in this month of November. We have the energy of Jean the Maid, which is humility, disillusionment, and championship. We are coming into the full vibration of your holiness. And then we have two throat chakra cards that come out. The first one is mirror. Everyone in life is a mirror. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to a better understanding of ourselves. Be the energy you wish to attract. Wow, very powerful so far. Follow the signs, follow the breadcrumbs of the signs that are moving you closer to your desire. What messages are showing up for you on your path? That's what you need to be doing fully in the month of November. Another authenticity card. It's very cool to see how like the whole year is panning out and the same messages and the same energy. It's going to change progressively, but this is the main tone. Like, it is probably but got to be one of the easiest years to navigate through, even though there's a ton of chaos happening. Finally, we come to December, affecting Sagittarius and Capricorn the most. We have the energy of Kali. Kali is another death time transformational energy which echoes in multiple areas over here, reminding you to let go of all that does not serve you anymore and embrace the full potential of who you are and what you want to be existing as. This is a very powerful energy because Kali is also in link with Dhumavati and Chinnamasta. These are different versions of Kali as well. So Kali is going to be wrapping up the year as well as connecting with the other elements of the divine feminine that are going to be taking role here. We have the energy of Hades, the King of Pentacles. Allow yourself to take December as a win. You have come to the end of the year. Allow yourself to reflect on the wins and embrace the full potential of who you are. We have the energy of the Grand Naga with the Eight of Voids. A lot of void energy coming back. We started off the year with void energy. Adamans, we're ending it up with dragon void energy. Very potential, power-driven energy that's going to be making you feel like nothing can destroy you. 2024 better come harder than 2023 did because you have stepped into a sense of victory. There might be a little bit of greed that still needs to be overcome right now. You might be seeing greed in the world, but at least you have come to a true understanding of your own darkness. The King of Void. Here's another Void card, echoing again some more of the energies that we've been reading so far. This is all about stepping into your darkness, embracing your darkness, now being able to use your darkness for the highest potentiality possible to create the realities that you want. This is very powerful, very beautiful energy. Do not let power be a hiccup for your reality. Do not let yourself not feel lucky during this time, and definitely don't let the shadow stop you from reaching your goals. Here's another representation of the shadow, similar to the representation of Erebos. We come to the understanding of the Eight of Pentacles. This is a work in progress. All of 2023 is a work in progress. December is going to be the final wrapping up of the work that's been put in progress. Intellectual talent and providing knowledge for your own success. The Page of Swords coming through, telling you to remember that this is just one of the many battles that have been surfacing in reality. This is not the entirety of the war, but this is a huge victory overall. It gives refuge, governs dreams, and reveals mysteries hidden from mortals. December is going to be a very awakening month again, bringing in divine consciousness, divine awareness that leads us once again into 2024. Justice and balance are going to be attained. It makes the truth known in court cases and causes innocence to prevail. So here we're going to see a lot of societal justices, societal reformations happening as well with our realities. We have the energy of Cancer, the angel of Cancer, which is the angel of emotions and tides. And as we wrap up the energy of December in 2023, it's going to be almost like these waves hitting a reef, almost very violent, very rough, but beautiful at the same time. so that we can see the final fireworks of the end of the year. Shinigami, there are a lot of spirits that are going to be coming into integration with us in December. Full awareness of new powers, new psychic abilities for everyone who's been working with the energies of Ketu and following the templates that the universe has provided for us, giving us the ability to just really truly do things that defy the common law. But we need to understand that as the year comes through, we need to have a conclusive blast. We have to come to a complete and total halt. We have 1 year. By the time December 23 comes through, you have to allow yourself to fully have abandoned all the strings that you've been working on in this month. You're supposed to be letting go of a lot of the strings over here, but if there is anything that might surface, you might have let go of a lot of it over here and felt like you transcended, and some echoes start presenting themselves in December. Make sure you take care of those loose ends. Now remember, tectonic spikes, it's like a mirror. You cannot allow yourself to be shaken by the world. Whatever's happening externally is only a representation of what is capable and is representing itself internally. As long as you work in harmony with yourself and you work in harmony with the greater aspects of reality, you will find true answers and true freedom. The energy of the matriarch steps in. By the end of 2023, we will be fully embodying matriarch energy, leaving the patriarchy behind. This is the decrumbling and the destimulating deconstruction of the patriarchy. It's pretty much what's happening. We're transitioning into a more balanced state with the divine feminine, even though it's going to be very crazy and chaotic along that path. We're going to have a lot of rejections that happens. We're going to have opportunities, and obviously having to answer the consequences of specific things that have not been dealt with. In December, we step truly into our crown chakra. This card is to support you with connecting with the divine, meditation and appreciation that can help you tap into source energy in this moment. Affirm to yourself, I have endless great ideas. I am one with everything. I am intelligent and aware. The crown chakra energy wraps up December, letting us know that we went through a very deep shadow retransformation energy just to end up at the light after Ketu has thrown us through a hella workout for 2023. If you found this to be super beneficial and you've been keeping track of it, let me know month by month if you've been really vibrating and seeing these things happen in your life. I always love to see that. Don't forget, you can schedule a one-on-one call with my team and I and see if you're a good fit for the Antojai Ascension Academy. I'll teach you how to become a master healer, quantum shifter, and also an ascended master. Everything I do is to teach you how to become the next level shaman to help the world achieve their personal goals. Remember, you can do one-on-ones with me. You can set up a scheduled tarot deck reading or a healing as well. And don't forget to join us on Patreon and all the other many forms of services that we have here at Antojai Ascension Academy. I love you so much. This is December 2023. And yeah, let me know how it goes for you. I'll see you on the next year, the echo that is simultaneously happening here. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share.